Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Making news on the bye week. Welcome to the show, Maggie. Great, Andrew Perloff, and that would be the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, Perloff. I'm sure he gets paid a lot, but this is not a job that I'm envious of, because you got to figure out what the heck is going on with the future of maybe one of the most unpopular quarterbacks in their own city, which is really saying something considering it is the Cleveland Browns. It's been a revolving door of QBs. Deshaun Watson has got a torn Achilles. And so Andrew Berry, their general manager, was asked about his future, and the answers were pretty plain, but then one of them got people's ears sort of perked up.
Really? Okay, I want to hear this because, I don't understand what choice does this dude have.
Great question.
But okay,
over $100 million, 170, excuse me, that they still owe to Deshaun Watson. It might go down as the worst contract of all time. So here's a little of what we mean. So here's the general manager of the Cleveland Browns yesterday, Andrew Berry, on whether Deshaun Watson can come back and play for the Browns.
Is there a world in which Deshaun Watson can come back here and play more football for you guys again?
Yeah, I think that's always possible, Mary Kay.
Always possible. I mean, that's likely / probable / you would expect it. I mean, it's Achilles, Perloff. We just saw Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers both come back from them in almost record time. Those guys are both older than Deshaun Watson. This is not a career-ending injury, so why would it be possible? Wouldn't it be, of course, we're holding the fort until this guy comes back.
Have you watched the Cleveland Browns? Are we talking about the same team? Have you watched the Cleveland Browns? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Nobody in their right mind who's watched the Browns this year thinks that Deshaun Watson is coming back to quarterback that team next year. First of all, unlike Kirk Cousins, who was not healthy at the beginning of the year, Deshaun has to move as a quarterback. Kirk Cousins can stand in the pocket. Deshaun's not going to be back by the beginning of next season off an Achilles.
Why wouldn't he be?
Because he can't move. Those Rodgers and Cousins limp around the field. It's hard to watch. That's not, Deshaun Watson can't do that. He's a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, but again, he's younger than them. I would imagine, I don't have...
Not that much younger.
I think the new expectation for Achilles, depending on obviously when you rupture it, but he did it even earlier than Kirk Cousins did last year. So it was week 6, I think, for Deshaun Watson. It wasn't until week 8 for Kirk Cousins. He has gotten... It's well within a fan's expectation that even if he can't start the year, that he at least would be playing the majority of the games in the next season. And honestly, I'd expect him to start the year.
But wait, I don't understand.
Yeah.
They're drafting a quarterback, right? Okay. You're aware of this headline.
I understand the reality is that the Browns are probably picking in the top 5. They have the second hardest remaining schedule left. They're playing with Jameis Winston, who's always up and down. You never know what you're going to get from him. Wildly inconsistent, which is why he's a backup quarterback. And they're not going to win a lot of games here. But I just ask you, what does that actually look like? So they draft a quarterback. That's fine. What do you do with Deshaun?
He just sits there like he did in Houston.
And what's that going to be? So
who cares? He has no leverage. They don't have to worry about him. He's just there.
Perloff, you're talking about cap hits of over $70 million.
Right, which are there one way or the other, right? So they have no choice. They just have to kind of suck it up, right? So, and then they draft a quarterback or they sign a quarterback, and Deshaun, I'm sure he's going to be on IR most of next season, and he's just there, on the side. Hey, who's that over there? Oh, that's Deshaun Watson. Remember him? He used to be in the NFL. There's no possible way that this plays out any other way.
Wow, I think you're we couldn't even have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. That was a competition. That was a controversy. How about this? Even better. Remember when the Chicago Bears had Justin Fields last year and they had the number 1 overall pick, and people were like, "Oh, you could just have Fields and Caleb Williams there together," and that's untenable. You're telling me that somehow Deshaun Watson, who's still owed all this money, who in his mind definitely still thinks that he's a starting quarterback in this league, is just going to want to sit on the side while the 3rd overall pick, Cam Ward, someone like that, goes in and plays?
How do you know that Deshaun Watson still thinks of himself as an NFL starter?
Because his body do.
Well, his body's been brutalized. That's the other thing, dude. Compare him to Kirk Cousins all you want. This guy has had every injury under the sun the last 4 years. It's completely different. He's like that guy, and this is a dated reference, the Monty Python Knight who gets all his limbs cut off. There's not a single
flesh wound.
There's not a healthy part of his body. I feel like there's no way he's going to be physically ready to play football.
So you think his career's over?
And also, too, No. I think he hangs around and eventually in 2 years comes back from this injury and tries to make it. The other thing too is obviously there's something going on mentally with Deshaun Watson. Like he hasn't recovered. Recovered feels like the wrong word, but he's never been the same after all that legal trouble. So you have a double thing. He's the most injured quarterback in the NFL, and he's got a deal. Clearly has emotional baggage. I think you don't have to be in his head to realize something's going on there.
No, but that's all something that, again, why there were major red flags, red flares that were sent up in the air before the Browns even committed all this money, the draft picks, everything to a guy in such a unique circumstance. He had not played, and then he had 20 plus women accusing him of all these things. And then you decide, hey, this is a good time to give him the most guaranteed money of any contract of all time. So people don't feel bad for them. I guess I'm just thinking about the real life. Like you're kind of, I think a little bit, and forgive me here, it's like a little fantasy land. Like there's actual real, your plan to just have him on the side is like,
but they did
that's not real.
They did it in Houston.
Well, that's because he decided he wanted to keep himself out.
Yeah, I can't see him. I mean, maybe he puts up a little fight here saying, I want to try and play, but I don't even think he's got that fight in him. I'd be shocked. Like, no, there's a wow. Like, I think I'm like, wow, you like think Deshaun Watson's going to be the quarterback again in Cleveland? Like, I don't think anybody thinks that. Well, I think Andrew Berry had a great blow-off answer. Everyone knows they're stuck with his dead cap, and I think if they trade him, the money gets even higher. So, and no one's going to take him.
Yeah.
So you're just stuck with him. You have no choice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're stuck with him. You have no choice.
You think this could be a huge problem going down?
I do think it's going to be a massive problem. He couldn't have Joe Flacco in the building. Flacco behind him. That was too much. So you're telling me Cam Ward, who else could be a top draft pick this year?
Shador Sanders.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Like Shador, who's going to come over and probably win people over immediately, because I think once he gets away from Dion, people are actually going to really like him a lot. I think he actually is likable and he's good at football or whatever. That is going to be such an explosive potential powder keg, and the Browns are the worst team to deal with something like that because they never handle PR stuff well.
Yeah, I maybe you're right. Maybe I'm in fantasy land. I don't think it's going to be as big a deal. I do not think you're going to see Deshaun Watson in uniform week 1 next year. I think he's going to be, because listen, he could barely get on the field before this injury. This is a torn Achilles. Like it's. He was hurt. Like he lost last year with a shoulder injury, but there's also lower leg stuff going on. He's not healthy, and I think they know that, and they're just going to sort of park him there and take the salary cap hit and build a new guy.
I don't think Deshaun's going to go away that quietly. You're talking about basically like his spirit has been broken along with his body. I don't think that's the case. I think Deshaun has shown you he's defiant in the face of a lot of this stuff. I think that he still believes he's a franchise quarterback. I bet he's like, look at my offensive line. Look at this, look at that. They changed the entire offensive coaching staff outside of Stefanski this offseason, which nobody has really answered the question why. And I think he's going to make it a problem. And by the way, let's not forget this. Remember what Deshaun did in Houston, right? He didn't like the owner. And so he sat out. Like, this dude will make it messy. And he's got money. I think he's been empowered by this organization. I think you have made your bet here with Deshaun. You've given him a certain amount of power because of the contract. It just comes with it. It's inherent. And I think he's going to use it to the nth degree, whether it's demanding a trade, whether it's being a pain in the ass. He will make it messy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think those days are gone. I think Deshaun has no power because he's been so bad. I honestly, I don't know that he has that fight left in him anymore to make it messy. I think Andrew Berry's answer was like, we speak GM here, right? Like he's like basically like there's hands. My hands are tied, Mary Kay. There's nothing I can do here.
Yeah,
that's what I heard in that thing. It's like, yeah, because I think the cap hit gets way worse if they cut him.
It is.
So basically, they have to hold on to him and just sit and weather that storm. There's no good solution out of this. I think he was almost done already in Cleveland before he got hurt. Although he's playing a little better. He had like a few moments where at least he was like a medium NFL quarterback towards the end, right? Wasn't he 15 and 17 in the game he got hurt? He could complete short passes. No, I don't think that anyone in Cleveland at the front office or in the fan base has this fantasy that Deshaun Watson is going to be the starting quarterback again. I think those days are gone. And you're right. I might be in fantasy land. It might be problematic. I don't even think this is an issue for Andrew Berry. I don't think he's thinking about this for a second.
This is the number one thing he has to think of. How is he going to navigate this?
Well, I mean, he's got to keep his coach. Like, I think he's got to keep his job. That's number one. He's got to keep Kevin Stefanski. That's number two. I don't think what is there to think about? There's no there. He has no choice, Maggie. His hands are so tied in this.
See, I think he's got to figure out how he's going to get out of this. I don't think just keeping Deshaun on the side is actually tenable. Not with a fan base as rabid as Cleveland.
So you think they cut him?
No, I don't know what they do. I actually don't know if they do get muscled into not drafting a quarterback or drafting one later, like third round or something where it's not as so directly confrontational potentially to Deshaun. I have no idea because they've painted themselves into this corner that expert after expert, former front office people have told us, Perloff, this contract feels so ironclad in how destructive it can be to the rest of your salary cap and team building that they're just sort of forced to make it work with Deshaun. And the other part about Watson, and we're talking about the general manager of the Cleveland Browns coming out yesterday, and the quote was, could you see Deshaun Watson playing for the Browns again? He said, I think that's always possible.
Right.
But here's the thing. The only way Deshaun, who I think really prided himself on having a good reputation before all the accusations came out, the only way he gets even close to back in the good graces of people is by winning football games. That's like probably a terrible reflection on us as a society, but the only way he gets a second chance is if he shows that he's good again. And I think he needs that more than oxygen. And so that's why I don't think he's going to go quietly away here. I think he's probably feels like I got to get my old reputation back. I got to get myself back because you and I would interview him a lot. He was making the rounds all the time before this would happen where people thought he was this great guy. And now people think he's a pariah. And also, he's not good at football right now. So he's got a million reasons to want to rehab in his body and his image.
Yeah, I think all that's a long time ago. I think that ship has sailed in my mind. I don't think that's where he is, really. I think, that's the post-Houston Deshaun Watson. I think him and this team have been beat down by this situation. They're done. I mean, maybe, honestly, I think that this rehab, like, they're going to take your time. You saw Kirk Cousins, right? We're talking about Kirk Cousins, similar time. Did you see him in week one? Like, it looked like he was like, I thought the man was going to need a wheelchair to get off the field, and he was fine. Like, you do, and look at Aaron Rodgers. How many times have we seen Aaron Rodgers limp? That's these pocket quarterbacks. Deshaun runs all the time. Okay. There's no way he's on the field next year, especially because they don't want him there. So he's gonna be injured, and they're just gonna keep him on the side. And even if he complains about it, I don't think he has any leverage. So I think they're going to draft a quarterback. I think they're going to keep Kevin Stefanski. It's going to be one of these match job, like, roll to the right, play action quarterbacks. It's going to be, it's new. It's start over. They have the huge cap hit. There's nothing they can do. They are stuck on this course. And Andrew Berry is blowing that off because he knows he has no options here.
Man, that is bleak. 855-212-4227. Let's
not
forget.
Bleak. It's not that bleak, but you're starting over.
Bleak.
You're starting over.
I know, but think about it. You just went all in. You brought back all these key players from last year. They spent $325 million on a win-now roster that they are slowly selling off all the pieces. That's not 3 years ago they did this. That's recently. Like, this is a stunning fall.
Right, but you can turn around so fast in the NFL. I think that you might have two really bad years, but look at the Commanders. Look at the Broncos after they have that massive hit from Russell Wilson. All of a sudden, they have a winning record. I think there's, again, this is a league of hope. So say they draft, say, Cam Ward, like, hey, it's on again. It'd take 2 years. Eventually, this money's going to come off the books. So I think the big question in Cleveland is, do we want Andrew Berry, the GM, to make the next quarterback choice? And do we want Kevin Stefanski? And you know how I feel about that. I think, like, Stefanski is the best coach they're going to get by a mile. Because here's the other question. Say they decide, you know what? I don't like what you're saying, Andrew Berry. We're going to fire you.
Right.
They fire the coach. Like, who's coming to save it? Who's coming in the front office or coach? Who wants to coach this team? You think Cliff Kingsbury is going to go take a job in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson eating up $100 million of cap space?
Listen, I think that's probably what the money's going to be for. You're going to have to really overpay for a coach. And
like you did with the quarterback.
And yeah, right. Get yourself into more trouble. At least the coach doesn't count against the cap.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, look at Denver. They had to give up a draft pick to get Sean Payton. I hope that Cleveland doesn't do that.
I know a guy who openly said, I need to go to a place where I can golf all year round.
Well, that's a big factor. Cleveland, the golf situation is not great.
It's not going to be awesome. It's way too cold there. All right, 855-212-4227. There's another part of this, Pearl, that I think maybe because you went through the process in Philadelphia or something like that, you're kind of immune to this, that you're glossing when it comes to fans. Like, you're kind of like, well, all right, didn't work, so now we're going to tear it all down to the studs and we're going to start over again. Like, that's painful.
There's nobody there's not find me a person in Cleveland, and you can call into the show, that had any hope that this, like, it's done. Like, they know this, the Deshaun Watson era and any expectation that came with it are a distant memory. I don't even think they don't even remember when there was hope there.
But the fact that, like, this is going to happen and everyone gets to keep their job, no heads are going to roll, and you just say, well, we chalked it up to we just made this really big, expensive mistake and it set us back. Like, I think there's a real life aspect of this that you might be missing because, again, I know fans are savvier than ever. We're smarter than ever. We get rebuilds. We understand dead cap and salary caps and how you got to navigate this world. This is still an epic, colossal failure that of all the LOL Cleveland things that we've had, it's at the top of the list.
Absolutely not.
And they once accidentally projected porn onto a wall in their team facility. I got Manny's attention with that. That actually happened because they were using the hashtag, like, double something. I don't know. I remember the story from a while ago. This is at the top of the list of embarrassing
this isn't even top 5. Not even top 5.
Oh, my God.
I mean, do you remember Hugh Jackson? Like, do you remember on Hard Knocks when Freddie Kitchens and Todd Haley got in a fight? Like, this is a team that won one game in 2 seasons. Like, that's
way less embarrassing than you gave $230 million to someone who was accused of being like a serial predator. That is way more embarrassing than 2 coaches getting into it on Hard Knocks, which like 500,000 people watch.
Fans don't care about that. They care about they care that the team is bad. Like, this is not 2017, 18 around then. That was the worst. It was that was all time bad. This is bad, but it was a mistake. Here's the thing. I mean, Cleveland made that mistake. There were 5 other teams waiting right behind them to make the same mistake.
Yep, but they're the ones who went the extra mile.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like, this is definitely not as bad as what was going on with Hugh and Freddie and those guys. To say this is number 1, it's not even. I mean, it's a franchise. This is definitely not a top 5 low moment because you had the fumble, the drive, like there's the move. Like, this is not. There's no way for Cleveland Browns. Like, this is a bottom 5. I don't even think it's top, maybe not even bottom 10.
Oh, my gosh. This is hilarious. 855-212-4227. I wish we could just, like, go to Cleveland and stand outside of a sports bar or something today and give us your lowest moments as a Browns fan. This one would definitely come in.
They went 1-15 and 0-16 in back-to-back years under Hugh Jackson. Are you aware of that?
Oh, I am aware of that, but that's your Sam Hinkie process.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
They were not trying to lose. They were not trying to go 0-16.
They got Baker Mayfield out of it.
Baker Mayfield wasn't even like a general. Like, Baker Mayfield was sort of, oh, okay, I guess we'll take this guy. No, they were bad.
I know they were bad.
I think you're underestimating. That was a very, very bad era of Cleveland Browns football.
I know, but at least they have the Lions as company with a winless season. It was, they're not the only ones to ever do it. They were the only ones to give the most guaranteed money of all time to somebody who had turned out to be a colossal zero.
Yeah, but they, again, like, come on. I mean, did we know at the time, like, we were, like, excited for the Browns when they outbid Atlanta. They outbid 2 other teams. Like, at the time, none of us had any idea. And the other thing, too, is they'll just fall back that Deshaun got hurt.
Can we put, I guess the poll question would be, is this a top 5 low moment for the Cleveland Browns?
Do what you said. Is it the lowest moment?
Okay, lowest. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Lowest moment. Is this the lowest moment for Browns fans that now they can't even commit to Deshaun Watson? Like, this has been a total cluster. I'm curious what the results are on this one. 855-212-4227. Okay, so much to do, including I got to hear about your prize picks from last night.
Let's move on. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so psyched to get back into tonight. Went into NBA last night. I did not nail it, but I got to tell you, the best thing about prize picks, every day, Maggie. It's so much fun. We got so many sports going on now. Over 10 million members, billions of dollars of award-winning. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy accessible to all. Simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Now, listen, I'm really into Maction this year, so I'm trying. I have to be honest, I don't know most of the players, but that's fun. Like, I love prize. I love Prize Picks because it gives me a little extra juice when Bowling Green is on TV.
How about this? Can I interest you in tonight? Would you like to combine a little Joe Burrow passing yards with Giannis Antetokounmpo points, rebounds, assists? That's just one of the combinations that you could have on Prize Picks right now. So what do? You download the Prize Picks app, super easy, and then you pick more or less on the projection of 2 or more players across any sport. There's Wembanyama for you. There's Lauri Markkanen for you. There's Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers. Guys, this stuff is fun. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code MNP, MANDP, to get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code MANDP on Prize Picks to get $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus, Perloff. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P. You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. You know, we were talking about Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns, was non-committal on whether Deshaun Watson would ever play again in Cleveland. Maggie thinks this is a bottom moment, like one of the worst moments in Browns history. I think this is sort of business as usual for Cleveland. Who's at
gosh.
But I mean, there was nothing worse when they were in Hard Knocks and the offensive coordinator and the running backs coach almost got in a fist fight, and then one of them won that battle, I guess. But there was a line that I think there's a narrative killer, something you've been saying, that it proves it wrong. You said that NBA winning coach of the year doesn't mean anything. So Andrew Berry, for some reason, came into this press conference with receipts about the fact that Kevin Stefanski is the youngest coach to win coach of the year twice, and that of multiple coach of the year winners, 13 of them, 10 have won the Super Bowl. So
I saw that. Didn't he also drop some Hall of Fame stats on there too?
Yeah. So I think Andrew Berry is trying to sell Kevin Stefanski to the fan base for the future, which kind of means maybe Andrew Berry's coming back too, but who knows? It's the Browns. Anything could happen with that owner. But I thought that was interesting. And the other thing that made me think about, we know who the coach, I'm so certain, and we're going to do second half predictions later in the show. I am so certain of who the coach of the year is. It's done.
Oh, I looked at the betting market.
It's Dan Quinn by 50 miles.
Yeah, he's leading by a healthy margin.
You can win in Washington. Like, I don't care if they lose every game out. He's like, they should make a statue for that guy.
Well, don't you think that's happening a little in Cleveland? Doesn't Kevin Stefanski get a little bit of a bump because he was able to piece things together and it's Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
So was he really worthy of those 2 Coach of the Year awards?
Yes.
But it's like you're getting graded on a curve just like Dan Quinn.
Well, right,
because Bill Belichick, how many times did he win it? Not 6.
No,
not one for every Super Bowl he brought.
But there is something interesting to that stat that I was actually floored. I was like, in the NBA, basically, like Monty Williams or George Karl, anybody wins it, like they're gone in a year.
Dwayne Casey, it's just a death knell for that guy.
Yeah, so it does seem like the NFL that maybe there's more to that award than we think. Well, anyway, I thought that was interesting. It was weird. Like Andrew Berry said pretty much nothing the whole press conference. Then he had like a resume of Kevin Stefanski that he presented to the press.
I wasn't sure if that was for the ownership.
Yes,
the fans,
I think it was.
Maybe for a future employer. I don't know. But yeah, they're both in it together. Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Nate's our pal in Alaska. Nate, you have a thought on this as a big Bucks fan.
I do. I have a little bit of a thought. First off, I wanted to tell Perloff that I want to let you know this whole year, no bear sightings. Just let you know.
Phew.
Really? Well,
what a relief.
Only moose.
So when did they go into hibernation, Nate? Are they done now?
Oh, they're already in hibernation. We just got our big snowfall just about 2 days before Halloween.
And you're in Juneau or?
No,
where?
I'm in Anchorage.
Oh, you're in Anchorage. Yeah. Okay. All right,
I'm glad
good.
to know it still snows somewhere in this world.
There was a mom and a cub just right outside my house. So I had to warn a guy because he was walking his dog, and I was like, don't go that way.
Yeah. Now you can. Okay, so we're in hibernation. You can take the dogs anywhere.
Remember, Nate was telling us that he saw a dog at the a bear at the drive-through of a KFC.
Yes, that was it. You are correct. First bear I ever saw that. All my years of living here was just in town. So.
Wow, that's awesome.
But yeah, anyways, I was actually trying to get to. I don't know why the Bucks didn't reach out to Mike Williams. I thought that we should take Mike Williams. That's a easy complimentary to having Evans and Williams with Godwin being gone. And I don't know why. I feel like that's a missed opportunity that we didn't take. We didn't do anything in the draft, or not the draft, excuse me.
The trade deadline.
The trade deadline.
Yeah.
Nate, I think they're waving the white flag.
Really? Why would they do that? I know they lost 2 to the Falcons, but you're still in it. You're going to have Evans is coming back. Godwin's not, but Evans is coming back this year. I'm with Nate here. You should have done something to hold the fort.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think the fact that they did not trade for a wide receiver and they're rolling out with Sterling Shepard and Trey Palmer says that they're waving the white flag. I mean, I think they know, like, there's like, why would we trade? We're not a Super Bowl team. Maybe we'll win this division again, but like, what's the point of that, Nate?
I just think that I think he would be an excellent complementary to Evans. Like Mike Williams is a number 1 receiver. If you have somebody that can throw to him, then why would you not, especially when he's on the trading block, because we all know that Aaron Rodgers decided.
Yeah, and he ended up going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So here's the thing, Nate. I want to give you some hope here, and thank you so much for the call, and we're always up for bear updates. Like, that's our That's hitting us right in all the places we love. So here's who would be ahead of the Bucs right now in terms of the playoffs. Tell me how safe you think any of these teams are, right? 5, 6. Okay. Arizona, Chicago Bears, the Rams, the 49ers. There are teams in there that I think we will not expect to actually be in the playoffs at the end of the season. You're telling me Arizona's a lock? You're telling me the Chicago's a lock? The Rams?
So you're not even talking about the NFC South. You're talking about the last wild card spot.
Exactly.
When has the NFC South gotten that last wild card spot?
This could be the year it breaks right for them.
It's breaking exactly wrong. If anything's breaking, it's legs. They are not. Nothing is breaking. They've lost 4 in a row. What are you talking about?
I think there's still a possibility. And yeah, are the Bucs a Super Bowl team? No, but not everybody has the goal of Super Bowl. I know that's sacrilegious to say, but I think some fan bases are cool with you making the playoffs. They did it last year. They won a game against your Philadelphia Eagles. They go to Detroit. They were in that game. They've had some bad injury luck, but again, they're getting Evans back.
They do have an easy schedule. I actually didn't see this. They got San Francisco coming up, and I don't think Evans is practicing yet, so he won't be there for that. So then they got the Giants, at the Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Carolina, New Orleans. So you're right, but what's the point of going 9-8 and making the playoffs?
Again, I think the point is they want to make the playoffs. Even if they know they're not a Super Bowl contender deep down.
But it's hard to say that today because they've lost 5 or 6 games. It does feel really down. And Buccaneer, I can't believe Sterling Shepard was out there balling like that. I'm still shocked by that. How come nobody told me Sterling Shepard was still around? And if anybody says that they knew that, I'm calling them out because that was one of the biggest surprises of the NFL season. I'm like, is that Sterling Shepard's son is already in the NFL? Remember I said that to you?
Yes.
I feel really old. No, that's still Sterling Shepard. But Kate Otten is the baller. Can we talk? Nobody's into the Kate Otten story like me.
Bogish is offended.
No, that's why they didn't trade for a wide receiver. You sat here Tuesday morning and told me how good Kate Otten was.
Kate Otten is unstoppable.
Yeah, they don't need Mike Williams, who, by the way, stinks. So I don't expect him to walk into Pittsburgh
not a number
and go
one
crazy.
receiver. I love Nate, though, but, it's not a number one.
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams, yeah.
No, that's the problem. I did see a highlight reel of Mike Williams with the Chargers. He was good at one point.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah, we all knew that.
That's
Yeah, I know. At one point, I think Nate is thinking, and I think other people are thinking, will that guy come back once he's fully healthy?
We'll see. Bogish is here. He's got headlines for us with a really cool Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
Trying to be as cool as possible with all these whippersnappers walking around here like Manny.
You can watch the show at youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. Where'd you get that?
This is from a company called Baseballism. It's a great site. A lot of great baseball stuff.
Do the young whippersnappers know who that is?
Yeah, Griffey's hugely popular with young kids because there's a lot of gear and he's just still cool. He's held up well.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Exactly. Headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code M&P, and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P.
Steve Kerr was in Boston last night for the first time since this summer's drama surrounding Jason Tatum's Olympic playing time. The Warriors head coach asked pregame if he had any regrets.
Whole thing was, hey, we're in this together. We got 12 Hall of Famers, and we're just committed to winning, and we won the gold medal. So I don't give it a whole lot of thought other than, I didn't enjoy, not playing Jason against Serbia, not playing Joel against South Sudan. Those are not fun decisions.
Celtic fans then had their say pregame.
The head coach of the Golden State Warriors,
Nicely done by PA announcer Eddie Palladino to pause and allow the boos to build up there. Kerr stopped working the whiteboard to wave to the crowd as he was introduced. And then
Okay, I'm sorry. If I'm Drew Holiday or if I'm Derek White, I'm actually offended by this. because I was out there for like 20 minutes a game. And so none of you in Boston, none of these big fans, no? You don't care that I actually was playing.
I think they should be thrilled. Steve Kerr said they're going to the Hall of Fame, no doubt. No conversation.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Halliburton, a baby, and he's going to the Hall of Fame. Okay.
Two-tones tie? Get out of here.
All right, so Kerr
Is that because his voice sounds different all the time?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Kerr spoke, the fans booed, the Warriors won.
Curry dribbles in the paint, goes all the way, scoop to the hoop, over White. It's up and good. 104 to 99, 2:23 to go in the game.
Tim Roy, Warriors Radio. Curry scored 27 in a 118-112 final in Boston. The Dubs have won 5 in a row. Tatum, by the way, scored 32 in defeat. Paul George booed in his return to L.A. He scored 18. The Sixers lost to the Clippers 110-98. The Nuggets gave the Thunder their first loss, 124-122 in Denver. Nikola Jokic, 23 points, 20 rebounds, and 16 assists. And the Suns stayed hot, 115-112 over the Heat. That's 6 in a row for Phoenix. Kevin Durant scored 32. The UConn men debuted with a 92-56 rout of Sacred Heart last night. Alex Caravan began his season with 20 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 7 blocks. And John Calipari won his Arkansas debut, 76-60 over Lipscomb. Top freshman Boogie Flan, 17 points and 3 assists in his first college game. Apparently, Manny knows him because he just raised his hand.
New York City.
New York City. I broadcasted his games at
that's
Stepanek.
it.
Yeah, Archbishop Stepanek.
Is his real name Boogie?
His real name is John Well, but his name is Boogie.
Y'all call him Boogie.
It's a good nickname.
He used to dance a lot as a child, so that's why he got the nickname Boogie. I digress. Keep going, Boogie.
That's
See?
cute.
That's a broadcasting nugget right there.
Yeah, I love it. Nah, I will never forget that.
Yes, you will.
Like 5 minutes. Yeah. No, in a week, probably going to be like, have you seen this guy, Boogie?
Yeah.
We talked about that.
I already forgot what school he went to, by the way. What, Arkansas?
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. Good news for the Cowboys. Only part of Dak Prescott's hamstring tendon apparently ripped off the bone Sunday in Atlanta.
Only part?
That type of injury would require more than 4 weeks off. Dak is not yet on IR, apparently, as he seeks multiple opinions on how to treat the injury. Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely is out. Bengals receiver T. Higgins is doubtful for Thursday Night Football. Free agent third baseman Alex Bregman had a bone chip removed from his right elbow. He'll resume swinging in a few weeks. Connor McDavid was back a week early from an ankle injury, but his Oilers lose to Vegas 4-2. And finally, Maction again, Northern Illinois giving Western Michigan its first league loss this fall, 42-28. Guys, back to you.
By the way, Tyrese Halliburton, Hall of Famer. I will bet anybody here that.
Everyone gets in that Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, and he's going to make the All-Star team every year. He'll probably have 10 All-Stars.
Maybe the Indiana Hall of Fame.
He's making the NBA Hall of Fame, no doubt. I mean, listen, he's probably already, the way the Basketball Hall of Fame works, he's probably already in.
The court's already named after him.
Yeah. He's probably like, where did he go to college? Iowa or somewhere?
Iowa State?
Iowa State, yeah. He's probably already in based on his Iowa State career. It's so easy to get in that Hall of Fame.
I mean, Jerry West is in 3 times. I just thought yesterday.
Yeah.
3 different ways.
He's definitely into the Hall of Fame.
Would this be the longest term bet on this show? Because that's at least, 15 years away?
Yeah.
It's a long ways away.
Yeah,
Penny Hardaway's not in the Hall of Fame.
Penny Hardaway? Yeah.
You think two-tones tie is going to get in and Penny's not in there?
Tyrese Halliburton is not getting in there.
I just love that somehow Perloff and I are like in rocking chairs. We're like 80 years old.
Yeah.
It's like, you better dump that honey over your head. I won. Tyrese Halliburton's grandchild has made it. He scored 20 points last night. Like, well, do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised you guys don't like Tyrese Halliburton. Everybody likes that guy.
No, we do. It's just.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
You can like somebody and
you know who else? Anybody who makes any Olympic team and doesn't get hurt immediately afterwards, Hall of Fame.
Well, it's contributions to the game. He did contribute to a gold medal, but everyone can't shut up about how he didn't play enough in the dumbest controversy of all time. You won. What's the point of this? And again, if I'm Derek White, if I'm Drew Holiday, I'm mad at our own fans.
Get out of here.
Are we not here? We don't exist?
No.
We're
come
in
on.
crunch time. Derek White.
They're aware that Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown are the bigger. That's why Derek White's there, because he knows he's not a star. So they defer to the stars. That's their superpower.
Hall of Famer Derek White.
Yep.
What's
Probably.
Probably. But here's the thing. don't you always want your star player just not to get hurt at the Olympics? Ask 76ers. Joel Embiid's not going to play until May because he happened to play Olympic basketball.
Which May?
Steve Kerr, May 28.
Yeah, I mean, Mavs fans didn't want Luka over there, but that is not the case with this. This was ridiculous. That Jaylen Brown was on the team was stupid.
All right, but then when the Celtics win another title next summer, I want Steve Kerr on a float in the parade for creating the motivation that led to the repeat.
I know. I agree. I think we haven't had a repeat champion since the Warriors in 2018 until Steve Kerr decided to bench Tatum. Now we have a repeat champion. Although the Warriors won last night, which I don't understand.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Well, no Jaylen Brown.
Oh. Still, I mean, I would think that the Celtics would be fired up for this game, and I guess that only lasts so long.
It was only for the
this was
intro.
their big revenge game.
And it was
pan out.
14-3 quick, and then after that it was
Nothing
a lot of
means
Warriors.
anything in the NBA.
By the way, yeah, it's a reminder, revenge game, it's a gigantically long season. They can't keep that energy going.
Can we go back to at some point to old Maggie and Perloff bet payoffs, 10 steps without a walker?
Yeah.
Stay up past 8 o'clock.
You have to eat these potatoes, but they're not mashed.
I know. Who can drink more prune juice
Stay up past
without
10 o'clock.
puking?
We could do stay up past 10 o'clock now. Yeah.
Honestly,
I think everybody here could.
I didn't even see 8:30 last night.
You have this ability to do that.
My wife said, "You're going to sleep?" I said, "Uh-huh." The next thing I knew, my alarm was going off. 7 hours later, it was glorious. I didn't hear a thing.
7 hours for you? That is a lot, dude.
What do you want to do this morning? You want to go out?
Yeah, just shot out of a candle.
Want to play some basketball after this show?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, Bogish, thank you. A very rested Andrew Bogish. Jealous. 855-212-4227. Lots to do. A contender for the Cowboys starting quarterback job. Forgot about this guy. We'll get to him next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is sponsored by the new 2025 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid that has class-leading advanced safety features like the available blind spot view monitor to make your ride more enjoyable. I really enjoyed last segment. Andrew Bogus doing our updates here at Maggie and Perloff Show. Had 7 hours of sleep and shot out of a cannon. One thing he said that Dak Prescott, his hamstring is only partially off his bone.
Hooray.
I had a hamstring injury in 2015, and I feel it every day. Hamstring is the worst. This guy is toast for this season, Maggie.
Yeah,
It's the worst injury. I'd rather just tear my ACL and know what the rehab is. Like, hamstrings linger forever.
Well, anytime anyone says anything about being ripped off the bone,
right?
Unless
it's at a restaurant and we're talking about asabuco, I do not want to hear ripped off the bone. Like, This sounded. I read that headline this last night. And I was like, "Oh my God, this sounds really, really bad. Why is there not more panic?"
I think because the season's in the tank.
Yeah. Yep.
If they were actually on their way to another 12-win season, I think there would be some panic, but there's not, because I think most Cowboy fans have thought, well, this is never going to work. It's a circus over there. We've been lied to by the general manager. He continues to gaslight us, saying, "Oh, we are all in." Well, you're not.
Lied to by the general manager? You mean Jerry?
Yeah. Sorry, the owner.
Yeah. He's not even the general manager or an owner more. He's evolved to even more. He's just Jerry.
I think they're sick of it. I think they are. And I think also the one part of this where I would panic a little bit if I'm a Cowboy fan is, this is not just this year. You are paying Dak now for 4 years, probably more like 2, but it's a lot of money. He's definitely over 30.
Oh, yeah.
This is an injury where he had already basically stopped running. He ran a little in this game, ironically, and then he gets hurt with a hamstring injury. So he's already a bit, I would say, diminished. I know he was a runner-up MVP last year, but he doesn't play the same way. And so what's the future like? Not just this year, but the next couple of years.
Also, don't forget, he spent all summer in a walking boot and really never explained why. That wasn't good either.
Maintenance
Lingering. From that really devastating injury from a few years ago, like, he's never recovered, which we were talking earlier about, like, certain quarterbacks just never get back on track health-wise.
Yeah, so if you're asking why people are panicking, I think they believe this has just turned into just a terrible season. They probably hope that Mike McCarthy's gone at the end of the year. They hope that, you'll get a new shiny toy of maybe another wide receiver or somewhat fun running back that you can get behind, or the offensive line will get a little bit better. There's not a lot of hope right now.
I will tell you one thing that I disagree with you on, and I think Cowboys fans have more faith in Cooper Rush than maybe you do. The narrative seems to be like, there's not much of a difference. Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott, same. That is definitely I don't know what that says about Dak Prescott, but I'm listening to a lot of quotes coming out of coaches and players like, Cooper, it's really the same kind of thing. He's 5-1 as a starter, Maggie. That's a big number.
Okay. Is Micah Parsons coming back this week?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Okay, so if Micah's coming back and Deron Bland's coming back and maybe your defense a little better, this is not the same team that Cooper Rush led to a 4-1 record 2 years ago.
It's not that different.
This is a worse team.
I mean, marginally. What's the difference?
Well, the offensive line has been an issue, and so who does that directly impact? A quarterback.
Yeah. But, I mean, the problem is that you can run on this defense, and Saquon Barkley's sitting there in Philly getting ready to go.
I mean, do you think he's going to jump forwards or backwards this time? Like Saquon, is there something else he can do?
Well, I want them to start protecting that dude. Like, you don't need to carry. If they're starting to blow out Dallas, don't give Saquon the ball anymore. Go to Ken Gainwell. But regardless, though, that being said, it's a division game. Micah Parsons might be back. Deron Bland might be back. Cooper Rush has won a lot of games. I don't know why, and this is being cynical. I can just see the Cowboys just like all of a sudden, at least giving like an A effort, which we have not seen all season. There was the effort wasn't there against Atlanta. You could notice like they were flat. So maybe this Cooper kickstarts them. You get a little backup quarterback bump, like an interim coach bump.
Are they rallying around Cooper Rush in that kind of way? I
don't know. Maybe this just wakes them up because they look like they were in a stupor, except for a couple guys against Atlanta. They just didn't look all there.
What do you think's more likely to happen? That they all of a sudden this galvanizes the team, or everyone looks around and starts thinking about themselves, and everyone starts thinking about what's the season going to be like for me?
I think Cooper Rush against the Eagles for one quarter. I think you see the Cowboys shot out of a cannon. Then the problem is even at their best game, they can't stop the run. The Eagles eventually run Hurts to the right, run Barkley to the left, and win the game. So I think they galvanize but the problem is, as you mentioned, there's not a lot of talent.
I think there's a me first mentality on this team, and it starts with Jerry.
So what is that legit? Like, who's not going to show up then?
No, I don't see this team, and maybe they'll prove me wrong. They're front runners. I don't see them as a foxhole team. I don't see them as a team where, you got guys with contract situations that are, some are settled, some are not settled. I think Mike McCarthy's a lame duck head coach. I don't see this as a team where all of a sudden they're going to pull together and go on this like fun underdog feeling run. I don't. I think this is where, and again, I think it starts with the owner. Everyone's looking out for themselves. Like, again, maybe I'll get proved wrong, but I don't see this as a, especially without Dak now, I don't see this as a galvanizing force.
I think that they're going to be serviceable with Cooper Rush. I think he's fine. I mean, he's just like knows how to run the offense. He's got a lot of experience there. You got to remember how young this team is, right? They have rookies everywhere. So I don't know if those guys know one way or the other. When you have 4 more years under contract, like there's no playing for.
No. I'm not talking about the rookies, but the rookies don't know.
Yeah, like Tyler Guyton and Tyler Smith, they're young. Overshawn, all these guys, like I don't know, they're just going to get a little bit better. I agree with you now. Like there's no this is a kind of a rebuilding team now. Unfortunately for them, they have this gigantic contract, like the Cleveland Browns that we started the show with, looming over them. But the reality is this team's in a rebuild. I mean, when your 35-year-old running back doesn't even show up on time, like it's time to move on.
Right. Zeke Elliott can't get to a meeting. But it's funny to say it's a rebuild when you have the highest paid quarterback right now by average annual. Right. You have the second highest paid wide receiver, and you're about to have one of the highest paid defensive players in Micah Parsons whenever this gets done.
You have a rookie left tackle.
No, I get it, but that when you talk about rebuild, you generally also aren't paying people at the top of the market. Yeah. That's the whole idea of the rebuild. So the Cowboys don't fall under your typical.
No, you're right. It's not ideally, but they don't have a choice. I mean, listen, Tyron Smith got old. Zach Martin's getting old. Like this is a rebuild, whether you want it. Dak Prescott is in trouble.
855-212-4227. Do you see this team being galvanized behind Cooper Rush? That just doesn't sound right.
You're underestimating Cooper Rush. I'm telling you, man, he's going to throw for 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and they're going to lose by 7. It's happening, Maggie. It's on.
I can't wait. Coming up, must-win game tonight. Yeah, we're talking about Cincinnati and the Ravens next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
Oh, yo.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Man, he's got a wiffle bat swinging with flair. Behind the glass, he's waving it in the air. Now that's bright yellow, could do some harm. If he's not careful, it'll raise the alarm. EJ sitting close, looking a bit tense. He knows one wrong move could be at his expense. Man, he swings wild like he's aiming to score. EJ's ducking low, getting ready to hit the floor. Oh man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Belotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friend. Man, he's in the zone like he's up in the plate. But one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. Where's Peter Bellotti? Not a soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Manny and his bat to take the stage. While Peter's off the grid, who knows what age. Oh man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Belotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friend. Man, Manny's in the zone like he's up at the plate, but one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. Where's Peter Bellotti? Not a soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Manny in his bat to take the stage, while Peter's off the grid, who knows what age. Oh, Manny, put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Bellotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Manny's still...
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Hate to throw around the term must win, but it does apply tonight. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Thursday night football, we got a good one.
Yeah.
Somebody wake up Al. You got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Ravens. No, Al's the best.
Yeah, Al will have lots of steak. Where's this game? It's in Baltimore. What is the best steakhouse in Baltimore?
I'm sure he knows it well.
Save a seat for Al Michaels.
Yeah, so tonight you get the Cincinnati Bengals coming to the Ravens. You guys will remember just a few short weeks ago, this was a shootout of a game that went to overtime where Lamar Jackson actually fumbled the ball in overtime and the Ravens still went on to win. It is rare that you make that kind of mistake and you still win. This is the bit of a charmed existence right now for the Ravens because they seem like one of the best teams and they're playing like one of the best teams in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Bengals, got off to the slow start, trying to dig themselves out of this hole, Perloff. Joe Burrow is actually playing amazing right now, but they're vulnerable still. They're 4-5, and I ask you if this is a must-win.
100%. The problem is, they blew these games early. Remember, they fumbled the snap on Evan McPherson, who never missed a field goal to win the game. It was a creative loss to the Ravens. That was the one they probably should have gotten because it was in Cincinnati. Now they're in a real tough spot because Baltimore is kind of firing on all cylinders, and Cincinnati's hurt. I mean, T. Higgins will not be there probably. They haven't had Orlando Brown in the lineup, their left tackle, so they had a real tough spot. Unfortunately, if you look at their schedule, they would fall to 4-6, 7. That means they really have to run the table because 10-7 may or may not get you in the AFC, and that's just too hard of an assignment, especially when guys are falling left and right, like they can't stay healthy.
The one thing that they have going for them is it's just 1-1 in the division, right?
But they're not going to win the division, though.
Well, do you really think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to stay at the top of the table?
I think the Baltimore Ravens are the best team in football. If they lose tonight, then there's no way they catch the Ravens because that's 2 losses.
Yeah,
so no, I think they're best. No, I already think they're out of the AFC North. I think the Ravens are winning this division.
So this is the other thing about Cincinnati. We can talk about how great Burrow is, and that's true. They have not beaten a good team. The wins they have this year are at Carolina, at the New York Giants, and at Cleveland, and then, at Cleveland, home for Las Vegas.
Yeah.
This is not inspiring here.
No, but they actually played their 2 best games against the Chiefs and the Ravens. That team looked great, but that's not this team.
Not so much, but
what's that?
Defense not so great.
No,
defense is terrible, but I mean they outplayed Kansas City, I think, and then they outplayed the Ravens. They just had untimely mistakes, but that team is gone. Like they've been hurt a lot since then.
Really surprised that they didn't add anybody on the defense at the deadline. And it's funny because I was talking to former league MVP Boomer Esiason before the show, and obviously is a legend in Cincinnati and went to the Super Bowl and won an MVP as a member of the Bengals. And I said, man, I'm really surprised they didn't add anyone at the deadline. He goes, that's just not what they do.
People thought they were going to trade Trey Hendrickson.
And that's ridiculous because he's their best defensive player.
He's their only defensive player. He's actually a defensive player of the year candidate now.
See, that's like the kind of thing that, and listen, Boomer loves the Bengals. He's not making this criticism. I am, which is this has got to be so frustrating because what he said is probably how a lot of people think, which is there's no way the Bengals were adding anyone at the deadline. Why not? Why not? You have Joe Burrow. You're in the window here. Like you have this all-time quarterback. You don't feel the same urgency that the Bills do, the same urgency as the Ravens, the same urgency as the Steelers. All these other teams, the freaking Kansas City Chiefs have added 5 players since the beginning of the year. And I just don't feel like the urgency is there from Cincinnati. I know they made phone calls, but nothing ever came to fruition.
Have you ever watched the NFL before the year 2020? This is the Cincinnati Bengals we're talking about. What do you mean, why not?
Because you can't be Mickey Mouse when you've got Joe Burrow.
But you're a Cincinnati Bengals. All of a sudden, they're going to become a completely different franchise than they've been for 60 years?
Well, we thought so because they gave Burrow this huge contract, and that was, they made him sweat a little bit, but they got it done. They will tell you over and over again they're going to pay Jamar Chase.
Right.
So they're telling, I think they're being honest about that.
Yeah, of course they're going to pay Jamar Chase.
Okay, so you are actually shelling out money for guys. Like, why not go the extra mile? I'm not asking you to trade second-round picks.
Yeah.
You didn't have to bring in Devontae Adams. I'm just saying.
Well, they haven't paid Chase yet, and I guess they're not paying Hendrickson what he wants. So, actually, no. I mean, you saw that interview with Mike Brown earlier in the year. It's like, it's not our style to pay. I'm like, dude.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, he's the poorest owner in the league, right?
It's professional football, though.
Yeah, but they're the poorest franchise, and like they had this brief flurry where they were paying up for guys, and it feels like he's lost interest in that.
Then you're going to waste Joe Burrow.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But Burrow might just be good enough that he can overcome all that.
I think you saw that when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Burrow happens to be magical, so that helps him. But
can you imagine, though, you go to back-to-back AFC, you go to the Super Bowl, and by extension, back-to-back AFC championship games where you could have had the second one absolutely won, except for a boneheaded defensive play where a guy pushes Patrick Mahomes out of bounds, puts the Chiefs closer, and they end up winning the game. But if there is a team, we joke about Jerry Jones being all in, the Bengals are the ones who should be all in. Like, this is the time when you actually do take advantage of this. Not, we paid Joe Burrow, so now we can't do anything anymore. It's silly.
This is not how the Bengals have ever operated or will ever operate. I mean, this is a team that didn't have a scouting department until the mid-2000s. So that's not happening. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
And they're never getting back to another Super Bowl.
That's not true either, because you have Joe Burrow. They do draft and develop. So they're just not going to go there. I guess they traded for Hendrickson, but generally they're not going to bring in guys from the outside. They're not going to be like the Rams with Stafford.
Okay. So if you're drafting and developing guys, why aren't you better?
Well,
these are the guys who you've been drafting and developing.
I mean, listen, they're 4-5 this year without T. Higgins for most of the season. Orlando Brown is hurt. Zach Moss is hurt. They have other linemen hurt. Like, basically, they blew a couple games early on sort of fluky plays. They never show up for the beginning of the season, and they're just so confident we can go on a late season run.
How's that looking?
Well, you say, why aren't they better? Like, this is exactly what happened. I just think this year, the other thing is Joe Burrow has had trouble staying healthy.
That's true, but he's healthy now. And the thing is we accept this.
Yeah, of course.
These things from the Bengals that other fan bases and other teams would never get the luxury of accepting.
Right.
Like, it became a massive story in Philadelphia for a while that the Eagles couldn't score in the first quarter.
Right.
And that's starting games off. We just accept that the Cincinnati Bengals can start a season 0-3 and somehow they've got the league exactly where they want them.
Of course.
It's completely blown up in their faces. And the same thing here. Like, I think that listen, if you want another shot at a Super Bowl, at some point you have to be aggressive. The Chiefs do it. The Bills are trying. The Ravens are trying. You can't just say we have Joe Burrow, we're going to get there. By the way, T. Higgins being ticked off or whatever about his contract is their own fault.
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but none of that, what you're saying, is going to happen, Maggie. That's just not how the Cincinnati Bengals operate, and we all know that. Like, They're not going to be all of a sudden the Kansas City Chiefs and make 4 deadline moves to bring guys. I'd like to see if they ever done anything like that. I mean, you have to look at the history of this team.
Yeah, but doesn't it I know they've had number 1 overall picks before and Carson Palmer and guys like that, but doesn't it feel like you've got, when he's playing well, there are people who believe that he's almost as good or better than Patrick Mahomes?
Okay.
You have almost the consensus, besides Lamar, I guess, Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, you have the consensus 2 or 3rd best quarterback in the league.
I totally agree with you. Absolutely. But if, say 2 weeks ago, the Cincinnati Bengals, came in and read the headline, Cincinnati Bengals trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Everyone who's ever watched the NFL will be like, what? That never, ever happens. It just doesn't happen. It's not in the cards. It's not how they operate. It's not going to happen in the future. It's not happening now. Like, honestly, if you're a Bengals fan, you're probably relieved today because they did not trade anybody away, let alone bring it. They were not bringing anyone in. They weren't even in the rumor mill for anyone.
855-212-4227. And then on top of that, I wonder how the sort of feeling is in the organization, too. earlier in the season, preseason actually, was it Trey Wingo who came on the show and
Yeah.
said he had heard from a reliable source that the vibes were really off in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having a losing record into week 10 is going to help that.
Well, I think there's two contract situations, Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins. You know, it's funny.
And Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I think Hendrickson could get the sack record this year, too, which would make it all the more interesting. But that's why it's such a huge game tonight. It's just a shame because I really want to see T. Higgins out there. I know it's just one player, but when it's so obvious how you cover the Bengals, right? I mean, you just put three guys on Jamar Chase or whatever. You bracket him. Like, how else are the Bengals going to keep up with Baltimore's offense?
Yoshavash?
Yeah, I mean, Yoshavash is a good possession receiver, but you don't have to. I mean, I'm being serious. Like, there's no 41-38 game this time, I don't think. I mean, let's look at the other side for 1 second. The Ravens offense, they're the number one offense in the league, and how on earth does a defense stop them? There's just no way. This is generational what we're seeing. So I think if you're Joe Burrow, you better have the game of your life. Otherwise, you're in big trouble.
855-212-4227. He can have the game of his life. He's had these great games, and it hasn't mattered. I just find it unforgivable when organizations have the quarterback in their prime, bringing back basically everybody from the year before, and then just decide, well, this is the line, and we're not going over it, and not understanding how special it is and what you have. And they obviously understand, but that's got to be so frustrating because there's just never there's not an excuse if Burrow's healthy that they would not make the playoffs, and I bet they're not.
Well, I think there is an excuse. I mean, T. Higgins is hurt.
Come on.
He's
not their number one receiver, and your quarterback is fine.
Come on. If you think if you had a healthy T. Higgins coming in this year, you don't think things would be different?
I mean, cry me a river for guys who have lost wide receivers. And by the way, receivers at the deadline were like the thing. You could have gotten guys, maybe not Amari Cooper, they might not trade in the division, but you could have gotten some help for 5th rounders, 6th rounders. That's not a high price to pay.
For most of those receivers stink. Like the ghost of Mike Williams, that was going to help there.
Deontay Johnson wasn't available?
I don't know. I mean, is Deontay Johnson going to do anything in Baltimore? I'm not sure. That's not T. Higgins. T. Higgins is basically a number one that you have the luxury of being your number two. He's a legit 1A wide receiver in this NFL.
But they clearly don't think enough of him to pay him.
This is the Bengals after all.
Oh my God.
That being said, I don't think you're going to kill the Bengals this year if they don't do anything. It's not. They didn't pay these guys. They're not all in. I think they have to figure out how do we sustain this success. And maybe that doesn't mean like you can't pay two receivers $35 million a year.
Okay. I ask you this question, and I only ask it because I've actually already seen this once. I'm going to give you a hypothetical here, and let's take out Joe Burrow's good guyness, right? Like he's from Ohio, and he would obviously want to play for an Ohio team, but let's just take that away. Let's just say this is cold, hard business. If you're taking all the franchise quarterbacks who play in the AFC, who are awesome right now, right? So you know who we're talking about. We're talking about Mahomes. We're talking about Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. We're talking about
maybe Justin Herbert.
I'm not putting Trevor Lawrence in that group right now. Just because he got paid doesn't mean he's there. And I'm not putting Tua in there either. I'm talking about the highest end quarterbacks in the AFC. If any of them were going to demand a trade away from their team because they feel like they're not getting the support they need to try to win Super Bowls, wouldn't Joe Burrow be at the top of the list? Again, take the good guyness away, take his connection to Ohio away. He would be the guy who would ask for a trade. And I don't know, Carson Palmer might tell him do it. Because he did, and he got out of there, and it was messy, and it was weird, but you know what? He got himself out of there.
I'd be very surprised if that happened.
Again, Joe Burrow's a good dude.
Too, I
don't know if he would want to seem like he was turning his back on his hometown team. But if you're not going to spend, and if you're not going to give him everything, and you're going to wave the white flag in a season where he's healthy, you're sunk.
Why? Where would he want to go? I mean, what's a better situation than having Zach Taylor and Jamar Chase? He's not leaving that. That I think
it's not enough. He's got Zach Taylor and Jamar Chase right now, and they're under 500, and they're playing for their season tonight.
Yeah, but he's having an MVP type season. Like I think he's not going to want to go to Dallas. Like that would be career suicide.
Dallas is
he's not going to go to the Giants.
Too much of a circus.
Like I think he likes this system and he likes his offense. He likes Jamar Chase.
I bet he likes winning more.
one
wants Mahomes to keep owning.
Tell me a team
that
that would be a better situation for him. Like, do the Giants would be a disaster? The Cowboys would be a disaster. The Panthers would be the worst ever. Like, he's not leaving. Like, I don't know where you think he's going. And it doesn't strike me as a Carson Palmer situation. Palmer was so mad. And Burrow doesn't seem mad at the franchise at all.
I'm not saying he's going to ask for the trade tomorrow. I'm just saying, of all those guys who are trying to take down Mahomes, who do you think feels like they're getting the most support?
I think Burrow thinks he's close. Because, there is a fluky element to this year, you have to admit. Like, they really should have won that Kansas City game. It was 4th and 16.
No, I know.
They had him pinned. I mean, this is really, I don't want to say bad luck, but I think they think we're better than Kansas City. They walked away from that game. And they definitely should have won the Baltimore game. There was about 4 opportunities they had to put that game away, and they didn't. Now they had some injuries. They really, were not full strength against the Eagles. I think he thinks he's close. And I think he's right.
What happened against the Patriots? And what happened against the Commanders? And what happened against...
I'm just thinking,
don't lose those games.
Yeah, but I think he thinks this year might not be in the cards, but we're going to be dangerous next year. I think he thinks he can win the Super Bowl here. I think he's right.
855-212-4227. All right, there you go. A little of what's on the table for tonight's matchup. You got Cincinnati going to the Ravens. I love it. Generally don't like division matchups on a Thursday. I feel like it's a little unfair to guys, but Joe Burrow actually was saying yesterday it's a little easier because they know the Baltimore defense so well. Kind of helps on a short week.
Are you worried about a blowout? That's my only concern.
Oh my God.
The big spread, right?
6. It was waffling between 6 and 6.5.
Yeah, that's the only concern that Cincinnati started out good against the Eagles, and they just got the doors blown off because their defense can't stop anybody. So that's a little concern that'll be out of control.
We'll make a pick for this game a little bit later on. 855-212-4227. Lots more to do, including, there might be a mutiny happening on one team, and we're barely into the season. We'll tell you what we mean next. MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff show. You know, Manny is over on the other side of the glass right now, and I love having him here. But there are days where I miss Pete Bellotti Jr., who used to run the board. I'm being dead serious. There are a few things that I was very entertained by about Pete, but number one, I think, was his opinion of Lakers coach JJ Redick. It was a guaranteed, if you're in a bad mood, hey, Pete, what do you think of the JJ Redick, LeBron James wine podcast? He hated that more than anyone has ever hated anything in the history of the world.
You know, we never asked, like, did JJ Redick do something to your family? Like some kind of affront? Did he, you know?
Well, I mean, he's probably the smuggest man in the history of any mankind.
You're right.
That's what Pete was responding to, or he comes off.
That's probably
that way.
not true.
I don't know. Yeah, fact.
I really don't.
But I don't know JJ Redick at all. But he to some people he comes off as quite smug.
I really don't give a
Duke. You know, smarter than you.
I don't think you have to run down the laundry list. Like, we all get it.
We get it.
Yeah. No,
JJ.
we know what you're
Do you remember how much
about.
people hated JJ at Duke? Maggie, you were.
Yes, I was in college
incredible.
also at that time.
That was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. But
When was that, 1982?
hey, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
What's Christian Leitner?
I am actually a lot younger than I appear. No, I have no idea.
I am, by the way, for the record.
Oh, gosh, we forgot about that. Somebody thought Bogish was like 60. Who was it? Big Friendly?
Yes, it was Big Friendly. I believe it was Big Friendly.
He's like, yeah, I'm older than all you guys, well, except for Bogish. I was like, oh,
I'm like,
burn.
I don't think he's the oldest one here.
I'm not the oldest person in the room. That's all I'm going to say.
Listen, we don't have to count. Yeah. It's just, it's funny because we love Big Friendly, but obviously he doesn't watch the show, which are on YouTube and Twitch and on Twitter. But he doesn't watch it because it'd be obvious that you're not 60.
Oh, he does watch. He's in the chat.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, I be seeing him.
I'm sorry, Bogish.
No, I just think it's your negative attitude that Big Friendly, like, yeah, if you were just more positive, then maybe
that's what it is.
But actually, Pete Bellotti is actually quite young, but he acts like the old man in the Muppets. Like he just was get angry.
No, there is something about JJ that really just rubs him the wrong way, but more than the average person.
Yeah, but there are a lot of things that rub Pete the wrong way, but JJ, like, oh God, did that guy drive him nuts?
He really did.
And so, I think a lot of people are rooting against JJ. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and his own team might be rooting against him after this. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's a mutiny on the way. So last night, the Lakers at the end of a 5-game road trip find themselves in Memphis. They lose, and here's what JJ to say about the effort for everyone except for LeBron.
He played hard. He's almost 40 years old and played the hardest on our team. Says a lot about him.
And maybe says a lot about everyone else on the team. And he was asked whether or not the lack of effort, if you address the lack of effort on the other guys. Here's Redick.
JJ, you're talking a lot about two or three guys, getting them to put in the effort. You've talked a lot about wanting to play hard and LeBron being the guy that played hard in tonight's game. How do you address that with the team? What's your philosophy for approaching that?
I just did.
Oh. Whew. Do they fear JJ Redick?
I really don't give a
Wait, who they? The players or the media?
The players. No, not the media. The players. Like, if he goes in there and rips them all a new one because they weren't playing hard, do you think we actually see people change their behavior? Like, do they fear him?
Oh, I don't know. Is that a thing in the NBA anymore where people fear coaches? That sounds crazy.
Okay, or do they respect them, I guess? How do you want to put it?
They're professionals. They should be self-motivated. That's what really my thought. Like, I don't know. To me, my takeaway was that I was like, oh my God, like he is just like, he's not even going to try to hide the fact that he is just there to be a LeBron enthusiast. Like, he's basically LeBron's guy. So I wonder maybe the rest of the guys think, oh, well, he's just LeBron's handpicked coach. Like, this is all about LeBron. What do we care what he says?
Have those players seen the NBA? They are in the NBA. What coach is not there just to prop? And by the way, LeBron doesn't need that. He actually is playing hard, so he didn't deserve any criticism last night.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're afraid of JJ Redick. I mean, like, who are we talking about? Like Rui Hachimura and what are the guys that are disappointed? I can't even remember.
D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, I think this is the problem.
Well,
like,
Russell.
None of those guys have a standing to be disappointed in JJ Redick.
Yeah, I mean, D'Angelo Russell has been a problem since he got in the NBA. Like, I don't think there's no coach who can fix his effort level. It's always been inconsistent. I think it's a roster construction just as much as a coach. To answer your question, no, I don't think they fear JJ Redick. Why would they? First of all, he's very young. He's never won anything. Who do you fear, Popovich?
No, and unfortunately, he's dealing with some bad medical stuff right now.
Yeah.
But I think, well, it's just a question. So JJ said he just addressed it, and he sounded kind of agitated. So it makes me think that he probably tore into them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they let up 131 points last night.
So do you think it does anything? Does it change their behavior?
No, definitely not.
I agree with Perloff. I think he nails on the head with the roster construction. Because you look at the roster, the only way you can really make anybody fear a coach is to threaten their minutes. Who on this Laker bench is getting more minutes because they're going to play hard? Bronny James? Bronny James got in the game last night because that's how bad this game was. I'm looking at Gabe Vincent, Max Christie. Like, you're not threatening D'Angelo Russell with playing time when you got Max Christie behind them. Like, they're not a good team. So, like, when you talk about fear, these guys make so much money. The only thing they care about is getting to the next contract and getting more money. Yeah. The only way to address that and affect that is to cut their playing time. They're just not even good enough players on this team to where he's going to play worse guys who are going to play hard. It's just not a reality.
But they've been trying to cobble together this team when all this cap space goes to LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like, it's not even their fault. Like, it would be hard. Like, how are they going to build a good team? EJ, you asked that question. They've not had the money to buy, like, the right players around them.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
they don't want D'Angelo Russell there.
Okay, but you can talk about roster construction and all that. He's talking about effort. Yeah. That's something that's always under your control. It's not like these guys are bad. They're not bad players.
But he's not going to get it from D'Angelo Russell. Like, they don't.
Okay, well,
and they
not
don't
just
want,
about one person, though.
I disagree with you. I think it's like they don't. He's trying something here, but he's not going to get it because that's not like the team they built. They did not build a team that was going to come out and really have like gangbusters effort.
It's not just Russell. I mean, you're gonna get effort from Jackson Hayes. That guy's a knucklehead. You want to talk about Cam Reddish? That guy's a knucklehead.
Yeah, I mean that's why they got him. Like the other teams gave up on those guys.
Exactly. Those guys are playing 30 minutes a night. Those guys have effort problems everywhere they've been.
Okay, then how do other teams pay superstars and also field a good team? It happens.
Yeah, no, and I think that there's one in New York that has shown that they can do that, right? Like you're taking up these smaller, lower tier guys, maybe don't have as much talent, but you're developing them, right? You're taking time on them. Like it's not going to be an overnight fix. The Lakers have been looking for an overnight fix for years. So they're taking these guys who are quote unquote talented but troubled and thinking that they're going to come to LA of all places and change and become the lunch pail hard hat guys. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, but they had to. Well, we cover this every offseason. Like the Lakers don't want D'Angelo Russell, but they're stuck. Like we know because of the finances of LeBron and AD. Like Yeah, of course they want to bring in the guys that you talk about. The Knicks, the guys that Knicks are bringing in. The Lakers can't afford any of those guys. They can't afford. They couldn't trade for Mikal Bridges. Like that's out of the question.
Okay, but again, other teams have superstars who they pay, and then they fill in with role players
like
who
the
are
Suns?
better. I was going to say like the Denver Nuggets. Suns are better this year.
I mean, the Suns. Come on, that's exactly the same model. Like, do you think the Suns want these guys after their big three? Like.
Your 76ers are doing this model right now and hoping it works.
And the Suns are 6-1.
The Boston
Sixers
Celtics, who had to make a tough decision of getting rid of Marcus Smart, but still had to pay Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at the very tippity top of the market, and everyone thinks they're going to go back to back. So yeah, I understand LeBron's 40, but he is still playing hard. Anthony Davis wasn't playing last night; he's got a heel issue. But there are spare me the because you're paying two people, you can't possibly win. That's the freaking league.
Well, okay, what if the Suns won?
Well, nothing. But
what if the Sixers won? Nothing. And what if the Nuggets had to give up KCP? And what did they win after that? Nothing. Like, honestly, like the salary cap is real. And the Lakers are in a worse spot than all those teams combined. Like, they've had to, they've gone into this offseason, like, how are we going to build one more champion around LeBron? Well, we have the mid-level exception. That's not, LeBron needs a better team around him now. We talk about this. Remember what we did all offseason? Like, how are we going to get LeBron help? There's never an answer.
I think they were so focused on Bronny.
This is a G League roster to some extent. I mean, Dalton Connect's
Bronny's still there.
I thought Dalton Connect would be the man. I might have been wrong.
Maybe a reason why he dropped.
A little early.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, he's a rookie. They can't.
Right. Like, they're very young. Like, they don't have a lot of talent around LeBron right now.
Christian Coloco got 13 minutes last night. Max Christie, 19 minutes. Jackson Hayes.
Kaylee Cuoco?
I mean, somehow the Miami Heat took yeah, she's awesome at the 4.
Yeah, and Harley Quinn.
Bazinga. Somehow Gabe Vincent and those guys, how did they even get to the Lakers? Because they were on a finals team in Miami.
Yeah, and Gabe Vincent's knee disintegrated the second he got to the Lakers.
That is true. Bogusch has headlines for us. We'll stop yakety-yakking about the Lakers.
Headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance.
Calling all boobs.
There hasn't been a three-peat in men's college basketball in over 50 years. That's the history UConn is trying to change.
McNeely's three, good. That's a quick hitter for a triple. And UConn leads 74-42. A little celebration going on for the Huskies.
Mike Crispino from Learfield, the third-ranked Huskies, opening their season with a 92-56 thrashing of Sacred Heart. Highly touted freshman Liam McNeely debuting with 18 points and 10 boards. Alex Caravan threw in 20 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 7 blocks. But nobody had the night that Creighton big Ryan Kalkbrenner did.
Kalkbrenner, it's been his night! Unforgettable! 49 for Ryan Kalkbrenner!
49 points on FS1. The 15th-ranked Blue Jays needed all of them, only beating UT Rio Grande Valley 99-86. Those 49 points, the second most in program history. And Kalkbrenner went 20 of 22 from the floor, the best shooting percentage on that many attempts since Bill Walton was 21-22 in the 73 national title game.
Quick question, Bogus, because I know I consider you a college basketball expert.
Thank you.
That guy's been around for 100 years. Where has this player been?
I think always at Creighton.
Yeah, I know, but how has he scored 50 points a game? I've seen him in every tournament for years. Like, he's never been that kind of offensive.
He's like 24 years old.
I was going to say, when you're older than everybody.
Is this like, remember, like Luka Garza, like an old big man who's just going to dominate this year?
Yeah, he's pretty thin, so I don't know if like the Garza-Zach Edey comparison is not complete, but also, with all due respect to the Vaqueros, he was playing UT Rio Grande Valley last night, so I think the matchup really fit the occasion.
Yeah, I saw the highlight. I'm like, oh, that guy. I remember him from last March.
He's a Big East preseason player of the year.
Wow. Who was the guy you picked for your guy of the year?
VJ Edgecombe, who almost killed Mark Few's son.
Oh my gosh, I saw that highlight.
I saw that highlight too. And I was thinking,
did you tweet about that?
I didn't. Maybe. I don't know if I did, but that was wild.
Somebody said this is nepotism gone wrong.
I think it's nepotism gone right.
Well, because they put Mark Few, the coach at Gonzaga, his son gets into the game. I don't know if his son is actually any good.
He's not.
Trust me. I've watched every Gonzaga game.
That was a resounding. That guy just got dunked on again. So they put him into the game, and Bogusch's guy of the year. I mean, just yam.
Almost Vince Carter, like Frederick Weist him.
I thought the rim was going to come off the backboard. It was violent.
He looked offended that Mark Few's son was under the rim.
Yeah.
Wait,
even
so
the area code of him.
EJ, I know you don't like nepotism, but come on. Like, if you're a big-time college coach, you can't put your son at the end of the bench. Everybody's. That's a tradition as old as time.
I don't mind that. He's a walk-on. It's just funny.
It was funny, yes.
Yeah, no, I love that kid because he's always on the bench doing weird stuff. Like, he's the vibes guy. Like, everybody needs a vibes guy.
Yeah.
And he's
Dan Hurley's kid who gets in at the end of every championship
exactly.
they win.
That was one of the most entertaining parts of UConn was Dan Hurley's kid. Like, the games weren't close, so we had to watch for his son to get in at the end.
My favorite thing about that in college, especially because it's the closest thing to, like, I think a high school basketball experience in America.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows that there is the guy at the end of the bench who probably shouldn't be on the team, but he's a vibes guy. He works hard in practice,
Gets the team GPA up.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone wants to see him get in the game at the end and hopefully get a shot. And so to see that go so horribly wrong, because Scott Drew is just like, whatever, we need the minutes. Just leave my number one top 5 pick out there. And for that to go that way, I think every high school basketball player in America could relate to that.
I'm a former bench warmer. This is, to me, the last 2 minutes of the game are the most fascinating. I'm like, fire up that shot, guy. This is your chance. Just shoot.
Did you see the clip, the post-game press conference? It's few and like 3 players, and somebody asked him about his son getting dunked on, and all 3 players basically crawled under the table. They wanted no part of the question. They were laughing so hard.
Those guys had the best games of their careers, and that was the moment that they just were like, I can't even be serious right now.
I remember one high school game. I came in. There was a D1 kid who was like 6'8" on the other team, and they were killing us, as you'd expect. So bench warming time. Perloff, get in there. That kid's eyes lit up like, I am gonna dunk on this slow guy like you've never seen before. And he proceeded to. He didn't dunk on me. I fouled him.
You want to get the foul?
Yeah.
Smart foul.
Now that's the risk of being bench warmer. You might get dunked on like that, Mag. It's not a fun place to be.
What's more embarrassing in sports, getting dunked on or getting trucked in football?
Oh, like a Derrick Henry stiff arm?
Yeah, just getting just run over,
baptized,
or stiff arm. Like, they're both rough.
And put it on the pole.
But if you had a story of, like, when I was in high school, Ron Artest played in my high school gym. If I had a story of Ron Artest dunking on
That'd
me,
be cool.
I would tell it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell the story of me getting face planted by some stud running back.
Yeah, because you'd be eating all your meals through a straw.
That too. Yeah, I couldn't tell the story.
And likely a family member was visiting you to like pet your arm.
One of my 3 top stories is Kobe dunking on me. I was super proud of that.
Yeah.
And that was like, there's no shame in getting dunked on by Ron Artest or Kobe Bryant.
It's funny because Kobe was 8 years old.
Yeah, probably. Or VJ Edgecombe. What's this guy's name?
Yeah, VJ Edgecombe.
What is his name?
VJ Edgecombe.
And
You
VJ
should know him. He's going to be like a top 5, top 8 pick next year. I'm looking at EJ
Again,
for
I
confirmation.
can't wait till the
top
combine
lottery guy,
when Perloff's like, you guys know this guy VJ Edgecombe?
This one time he dunked on Mark Few's kid.
Throw this
I'm more
highlight
of a
when he
G
dunked on
League.
this little guy.
And what's the guy who scored a bunch of points last night's game?
Yes.
Ryan Kalkbrenner.
George Steinbrenner.
Best executive.
They dug him up.
I mean, come on, college basketball.
Sorry.
We're supposed to be experts on a sports talk radio show. Come on, the sport starts in February, except for the occasional highlight. We all know this.
I'm trying to go to the Gonzaga UConn game in December.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
You'll get a ticket.
MSG.
Yeah, you'll get a ticket.
You see those prices? I don't know. Ticketmaster.
Let me get to Atlanta, where the New York hate was strong last night. This is Hawks radio voice Steve Holman.
Zach's second is short. Rebound. Hey, Trey Young has it. Trey gets fouled by the great Jalen Brunson. Whoa, Brunson has been upset all night. Dyson Daniels has shut him down. And now the foul. Brunson complaining to the official. Oh, do you know I'm Jalen Brunson?
Steve hates Brunson like Pete hates JJ Redick.
Pete hates coffee, bro. Why do the Knicks? Why do we live rent free in Atlanta's head? You know, Trey Young is 6-14 in his career against the Knicks.
Oh, glad you mentioned Trey Young. Here he is post game after this 121-116 win.
I hope these New York fans find their way to the exit real quick.
You're 6-14, bro.
Boo! Take y'all ass home.
I'm sorry, guys. That's funny. And by the way, who lives rent-free in whose head? I was once at a Yankee game where a bleep Trey Young chant broke out. A Yankee game.
The best thing that ever happened to Trey Young's career was associating himself with the Knicks.
It also happened 3 years ago.
Well,
Do something with your career, bro.
Guys, this is hilarious.
Because it's so illogical.
It's hilarious because he's so unaware. Brother, have some self-awareness.
Well, he beat you guys in the playoffs. So
3 years ago.
I know, but again, he did. So it's a little bit of indictment, though, that so many Knicks fans were at a Hawks game.
Yep.
It's indictment on the Knicks. Oh, you mean the Hawks fans?
No, they're at home. This is in Atlanta. So he's
That
like,
always
boo,
happens, though.
take your asses home. This wasn't at the Garden.
No,
Yeah,
State
this was
Farm
in
Arena.
Atlanta.
State Farm Arena is Madison Square Garden South, or ATL. Madison Square Garden South is where the Heat play. I digress.
Oh, man.
Wow.
How long do you get to keep a grudge like this?
Did you see the Michael Jordan doc? 35 years minimum.
At least through November 6th of 2024.
But does it count if the other team cares?
Oh, I think that the Knicks get this. I do.
A lot of those guys, none of those guys are on the team anymore.
That's true.
He
Jalen
literally
Brunson
beat
wasn't
He
there.
literally beat a different 12-man roster. By the way, a 12-man roster that's not on any NBA roster, most of those guys.
Okay, well, maybe the Knicks don't care, but the fans do. They were booing, so he said, take your asses home. It's funny.
It's funny.
Trey Young.
I'm Jalen Brunson.
It's November NBA. Give us something.
I thought jokes were supposed to be funny.
Oh, the Knicks aren't winning, so Manny's in a bad mood.
It's not even that. It's just I don't like stupid people.
Oh, man. We're finding Manny's pressure points.
The Cavaliers are 9-0.
You weren't this upset when the Yankees lost the World Series.
Hey, the Knicks do
you were in a
something
Penn
to me.
State sweatshirt. They just had a terrible loss to Ohio State. You were like, la-di-da.
Those Bockers do something to me.
I can imagine. We're understanding that now. It's a meaningless game in November.
Hey.
You just lost the World
Meaningless
Series.
to whom? Not this guy.
I love it.
Have a Coors
Never
Light
change,
from your
Manny.
end cap. He's dressed like Spuds McKenzie.
They don't know that reference.
No, they don't.
Who?
Oh, God, you're the worst.
Hey, Bogus is the oldest person here.
No.
Shout out to Big
I
Friendly.
know that one.
Maggie got it.
I got
if Perloff
it.
was listening, he would have gotten it.
Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Boogie Fland.
I lost you guys at Knicks Hawks. Was that what's going on?
Amazing. That's it. That's all.
I mean, I got more, but
Save it.
yeah, why not?
Got lots more
Don't
to
want to
do.
overwhelm Perloff.
See you guys on the phones. Want to talk about tonight's game? We got the Bengals. We got the Ravens. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got Alabama, LSU this weekend. We got Ole Miss, Georgia this weekend. Lots to talk about. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
They're diehard Knicks. Manny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans. Living in the Big Apple, they're part of the grand plan. But they just witnessed the crushing defeat. 76ers taking the victory, man. That's hard to beat. Sitting in the studio, talking about the game. Maggie and Perloff, it ain't all the same. Perloff's a Philly fan. It's hard to stand when your team's on top and your heart's in your hand. Man, Manny and EJ, they lost and confused. Knicks played hard, but it wasn't what they used to. Every missed shot, every turn, oh, they saw leaving them shot. They can't believe what they're in for. Manny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans. Living in the Big Apple, they're part of the
Roasting Tom Brady, we took it too far. But Maggie don't care, she's a superstar. Said the kids need to learn to laugh at the pain, so we'll keep on joking, no need to explain. We may have crossed the line, but who's to say? Maggie's teaching her children to handle it her way, making light of the struggles, finding joy through the tears. With a sense of humor, they'll conquer their fears. Ha ha ha, let's laugh it off. Put a smile on your face. Ha ha ha, bring on the jokes. No need to keep the pace. We'll turn the pain into laughter. Let it all go. Ha ha ha. Together we can grow. Roasting Tom Brady.
And your Bogo's high on this. Bogo sweeps. He's got the road trip blues. Otis Miller, Tampa Bay. Moist pork so delicious. Fashion icon, always ambitious. Rocking the threads, fresh and clean. Styling on the scene, living the dream. Loves Twitch, not YouTube. Always dancing, never in the mood. Live streaming with 1 million views. Sipping on success and paying his dues. Loves Baltimore, city of his heart. Representing, playing his part. Sweeps. He's got the road trip blues. Left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio. Can't believe his eyes. But Bogo's stuck at home. His heartache amplifies. Against Wembyama, Perloff took the fall, but it's Bogus left behind, feeling 10 feet tall. A loser in his own right, can't catch a break. Road trip dreams shattered, for goodness sake. Peter Bellotti, 5 days off in a row, but his grumpy demeanor didn't let it show. Singing sonnets to Tom Cleming.
I gotta wait. I know that.
Is this the first time you've ever sung?
Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
We need to help him out here.
Time never seemed so good.
So good. Fired up for it?
I've been inclined.
Everything good?
Bum, 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 to believe.
EJ was also gone. But EJ has an excuse. He takes him about 3 minutes to get to the bathroom because of his injured knee.
He's trying to find Maggie.
No, I'm so sorry. What happened was I'm trying a new thing where I want to start eating oatmeal in the morning as opposed to the bagels that I've been housing.
Yeah.
So I had to go all the way to the cafeteria and get hot water. Got caught in a conversation with somebody, yada, yada, yada. I'm late.
Anyway, tonight.
Interesting.
Game of the year. Yeah.
Maggie looks like she just ran New York Marathon, by the way.
I want to breathe heavily into the microphone and freak everybody out. Sorry, Perloff, you were saying?
It doesn't matter. Why would
How late am I? Am I that late?
Just take the call.
We got 30 seconds, probably.
Rich is in Chicago. Hi, Rich.
Hey, I think you guys are on to something about tonight's game. I was going to point this out because I've been an NFL fan and a football follower for a long time, but I've never seen this in my life. The Ravens are number one in run defense in the league and last in pass defense.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. They can stop the run and they can't stop the pass. I think this may be the highest scoring game in the history of the NFL tonight when you have the Ravens that can run the ball. They're ranked number one in terms of rushing, and the Bengals can't stop the run. And the Bengals can't run the ball. The Bengals are 30th, 29th to 30th in terms of running. And the reason I bring this up, you guys brought up some really good points about the formula has changed. It's gone from being kind of like, let's go after the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. The get this, the top 6 teams in the league in terms of running the ball are the Ravens, Eagles, Commanders, 49ers, Green Bay, and Lions. They're all the top teams in the league that can run the ball. So I'm thinking, hey, Joe Mixon isn't walking through the Cincinnati Bengal door.
No.
No, they traded for Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, a reject from the Bears here. I mean, come on, that's the best that they can do. And I think that you're early. I think it was Perloff that said, "What about trading Burrows?" I've got a great idea.
Yeah.
I would do that tomorrow. Anybody who's played for the Bengals, and I used to live in Cincinnati. I lived all over as a corporate guy, but I can tell you, talk to anybody, Collinsworth, anybody that played there, they'll tell you that they don't pay anybody, they don't like the front office, they don't like the ownership. So how about trading Burrows? This would be the play. Trade Burrows, and this is going to sound silly until I explain it, but trade him to the Giants or the Saints. And here's why. You're going to get top picks with those two teams who are bottom feeders, and you're going to be able to restock. And Burrows isn't going to lead the Bengals anywhere as great as he is, because he is a maybe top 3 quarterback. He's wasting his time. He played at LSU. He'd probably love to go back and play for the Saints, and the Giants need a quarterback. I think you got to just start over with the Bengals. But the fun part about tonight, I think it's going to be a 75-point game. I think they'll have 50 at halftime.
Wow.
I mean, they can't.
Rich,
think about it.
Here's
Ravens
the thing,
can't
though.
stop the pass.
So what we were talking about, and I agree with you, the over-under for this game, I believe, was set at 52.5.
53 right now. But, I mean, remember, we had the Rams-Chiefs 54-51, so it's not going to be the highest scoring primetime game, but it should be quite high scoring.
Yes. So I'm seeing, 52.5, 53. They combined for 59 points the last time they played, so you might get it by a comfortable margin there. I wasn't saying that the Bengals are going to trade Joe Burrow. We were talking about the top teams in the AFC. For all those top quarterbacks in the AFC, the one most likely to request a trade, demand a trade, what have you, could be Joe Burrow if he feels like the team is not all in on trying to win a Super Bowl and wasting his talent. We saw this with Carson Palmer, and so it's not totally unprecedented that a Bengals quarterback says, "Get me out of here."
Yeah, I mean, but Palmer had huge beef with the team. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was furious with ownership. I think it was over money or something. I just can't see that happening to Burrow. The other thing, too, God, that'd be such a shame if he went to a team like the Giants or the Saints, because, then you're really wasting away. At least he's the best player in football right now, or second best behind Lamar. I think, they got a lot going on there in Cincinnati. It's good. It's just now that why would you trade him? That's crazy. You would never volunteer to trade him. Because who could you possibly get in the draft?
And that's not what we were saying. We weren't saying voluntarily trade him. We were talking
about,
Rich,
I think, was being like a fantasy football perspective.
Right.
Being like, you're not going anywhere with this Burrow version. But
no, but here's the thing that this is the frustrating part about it. You could understand them having a losing record or being on the fringe of not making the playoffs, which is why tonight is so epically important for them. But you can understand it in a year when Burrow gets hurt and Jake Browning has to come in, and then you barely make it. And then you think, all right, well, let's not add at the deadline this year because look what happened. Our quarterback's hurt. This is a year he's healthy. He's playing great. This is the time when you do actually go for it.
Yeah,
making some kind of trades besides Khalil Herbert, the running back. And by the way, they had to do that because Zach Moss is out for the year.
First of all, that's never going to happen. There are never going to be buyers like that, like Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins level. But second of all, you have major financial problems here because you happen to draft really well. What are they going to trade for a contract? How could they? They have to pay T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson and Jamar Chase. What
other teams who have terrible salary cap situations have made trades at this deadline?
What's the same thing with the Cowboys? They have to pay Parsons. They can't bring in a huge contract.
But what about just it doesn't even have to be huge. You're talking about T. Higgins, who's doubtful for tonight's game. You can't bring in a second or a third wide receiver. You can't bring in a body there.
Most of those bodies do not really amount to anything. Most of I saw the Times had an article 90% of wide receiver trades do nothing.
DeAndre Hopkins was a 5th rounder that they traded. This was not that type of commitment. It's not there. It's not this long-term deal. You're not bringing on, Max Crosby or something like that. We're not talking about that kind of blockbuster. You're basically talking about a Band-Aid to try to help you get through a season.
I don't know why, watching it, I don't know why 31, you're going to rip the Bengals. How about the other 31 teams who didn't try to trade for DeAndre Hopkins?
Well, we're talking about the Bengals
30 teams,
right
actually.
now.
Well, I'm just saying, Yeah, you're ripping them. Like, come on, you know that. There are a lot of. Why didn't your Bills trade for DeAndre Hopkins? Same exact question.
They trade for Amari Cooper.
Well, right. But
They
why
did something.
But DeAndre Hopkins is way better than Amari Cooper.
Listen, I think they were probably in on Hopkins too. I just think probably Amari Cooper. It ended up being a better fit. I have no idea.
I don't have it in front of me.
But they did something because they looked at the receiver core and they got to look at it through 7 weeks or whatever and said, we don't have enough.
I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm sure the reason the Bengals didn't trade for DeAndre Hopkins is money. I mean, look at them. They have some. They're not paying their own guys. They're going to bring in DeAndre Hopkins. Was never going to happen.
Chiefs pay Mahomes. Chiefs are paying Chris Jones. I mean, other teams find ways. 855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do, including we give you the biggest thing to look forward to as we hit the second half of the NFL season.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
I'll never stop, no, I'll never be done talking about Peter Bellotti, the missing one. Day after day, his shirt's empty and cold, but I'll keep singing cause the truth's been told. They say I've lost my way, but I don't care. I'll talk about Peter all day. You think it's a problem, or maybe that's true, but I'll never quit, got stuck like glue. You're the biggest fight, say I've lost my way, but I don't care. I'll talk about Peter all day. You think it's a problem, or maybe that's true, but I'll never quit, got stuck like glue. Dodging the fight, or just taking naps, avoiding the light. I don't need help, I'm doing just fine. I'll keep raging about Peter till the end of time. Although the expert, they say I've lost my way, but I don't care. I'll talk about Peter all day. You think it's a problem, or maybe that's true, but I'll never quit, got stuck like glue. He's gone, is he dodging the fight, or just taking naps, avoiding the light? I don't need help, I'm doing just fine. I'll keep racing by Peter till the end of time.
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Got some predictions for the second half of the season. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, the NFL season, that is. Pro, basically here at the halfway mark. It's a lopsided season now, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly where the middle is, but we're calling it today. The middle, as Thursday Night Football kicks off, Ravens, Bengals tonight. So we're going to recap a little of the first half of the season. We'll give you some predictions for the second half. You ready to go?
Oh, I am so ready. And I think you can actually, if you do a lot of advanced math, figure out the exact midpoint of the season. I think it was Tuesday at 11:14 a.m.
Well, we weren't on the air then.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be today. So EJ's going to give us something, a question. We're going to answer it for you. Let's go.
All right. So far in this NFL season, what has been the biggest disappointment?
Oh, go ahead.
To me, it's got to be the Cleveland Browns. And I understand that Deshaun Watson got hurt and that he tore his Achilles. But last year, Deshaun Watson got hurt, and this team made the playoffs with a variety of quarterbacks finally landing on the immortal Joe Flacco. So to me, they changed their entire offensive coaching staff after they lost to the Texans. I don't know if we're seeing positive returns on that. They're already traded two great players, Amari Cooper, Zadarius Smith. So I think the Browns, without a doubt, biggest disappointment of the season.
Really? I don't. But the Browns were not a favorite to really do much, though.
They made the playoffs last year.
Right. But my team, my biggest disappointment is in the same division, but a team that I think a lot of really, really smart people thought were going to reach the Super Bowl, including myself.
Yeah, one particular.
The Cincinnati Bengals are definitely most disappointing because, okay, they got off to that slow start like they always do. That's like a Zach Taylor. Their coach is 1-11 in his first two games. And then they turn around and put the pedal to the metal. Not this year. For some reason, Cincinnati is... I'm disappointed because it was my personal pick to win the Super Bowl because I think Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. It's not going to happen this year. I think there were just a few bounces. Like a couple things can happen in a season. It's such a parity league. I think the way that 4th and 16 pass interference was just a gigantic play. I think it was a season changer against the Chiefs. They win that game as they should have. Then I think they look like a front runner in the AFC, and it went the wrong way. Then injuries happened, and now we are really stuck, desperate to try and make a wild card spot.
And they, again, are in Baltimore tonight to play the Ravens in what feels like as close to a must-win in Week 10 that you can have.
Let's go to the biggest surprise of the first half of the season.
Can I go first? Because I want to go with the obvious one. I did not see the Washington Commanders coming because I have seen 20 years of Dan Snyder Washington football, and my brain could not compute that all of a sudden this team would be so good that Cliff Kingsbury would be the hottest next year head coach hire there is, that Dan Quinn would get that defense with really no talent playing at this level. I mean, one thing, their defense hasn't really played a lot of good offenses, so I think they come back to earth a little bit. But Jaden Daniels was my Rookie of the Year pick. I'm not surprised he's that good. It's just the way the rest of the team is playing is shocking to me. They just really look like a solid football team.
Well, and to your point, this great home field advantage that was like they're 4-0 at home. Whoever saw that coming with the Commanders? You thought it'd take a while to get the thing back on the train back on the tracks or get people excited about Commanders football, and it took about a month.
Yeah, I mean, we did have one season of this with RG3. Remember, there was a lot of hope, and it all fell apart. I knock on wood.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen again. But, they really seem to be like, also, they seem to be like a team who enjoys each other. I never saw any of that during the Daniel Snyder era. Wait, when did they have the fight of the two huge guys?
That was not that long ago. That
was last year, right?
Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen?
Yes, or somebody like that. Like, that's how I think of, like, the old era. Now it seems like, man, this is a fun team. They're fun to watch. They're my biggest surprise.
Can I also give another surprise on top of that? Just Jaden Daniels looking this much better than Caleb Williams.
I think I'll give you, he's 2 years older. And he was a lot better last year than Caleb was. Like, last year, Jaden Daniels basically averaged 20 yards a play.
In college, right. But he also had, future NFL players all along his offensive line.
Right.
Obviously, his wide receivers were awesome. They're in the NFL doing great things. Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr.
But isn't he designed more to be an instant success because he's a better runner than Caleb? I mean, Caleb is very
Caleb's
mobile.
a great scrambler.
But he doesn't like to run downfield. Jaden has that running downfield thing. So I believe me, it's not like I saw that coming for sure. But I do feel like he's designed to be a good rookie, a little better than Caleb. So wait, I have a question for you off that. Are you willing to commit that Jaden Daniels should have has a brighter future? Does it feel like that's a conversation now?
I'm not going there yet.
Okay.
But it's looking bleak here. My biggest surprise is the Arizona Cardinals at 5-4. We looked at this NFC West division, always felt like it's just going to be the Seahawks and the Rams kind of fighting it out from now to eternity. And then Seahawks had a new head coach, so you kind of see what happens with them. It's very bunched up in the division. But Arizona, I thought they were going to be dreadful this year. I thought Marvin Harrison was just going to languish there. And instead, Kyler Murray, I think, definitely holds on to his job now. They're not trading him away. That was a real conversation from last season. Jonathan Gannon does not look like a disaster as a coach by any stretch. I like this Cardinals team, and the defense is getting a little better every week.
I don't know. I
they have
don't
a negative
know.
point differential. It's not like they're this great team.
I
but
know. I know. Like, so some of their wins have just been so close and weird. They did blow out the Bears last week, but are the Bears any good? They blew. Who is they? I'm looking at their schedule. They beat Miami. Who was the quarterback? That was Tua. So, but Miami blew that game. They're very hard for me to figure out. Don't you find them kind of mysterious? Like,
That's
do you
what
know
they're
what?
surprised.
I was just talking about in the newsroom. The Jets are favored by 1 point in Arizona this week. Explain that to me.
Well, I mean, last time we saw the Jets, they were favored against the Texans at
I
home,
know.
and it ended up being the right call.
That's exactly what Andrew Bogus said. Yeah. So that's the thing. I do not know who this Cardinals team is, but I will tell you one thing. When you bet against the Cardinals and you see James Conner coming at you, he is a force. He's a force, and he's a great running back. And we had a caller, Rich in Chicago, point out, like, that's how you win in the NFL right now. They are running the ball, and that formula is working. I'm dying to know how they finish the season. It's up in the air.
EJ, what's next?
Yeah, 4.5 yards a carry for James Conner this year.
Wow.
Let's go to team that you can't quit this season.
Oh, it's the Jets. It's EJ's Jets.
Oh,
it's something about Aaron Rodgers. They are favored, as you said, by a point on the road against Arizona. Vegas can't quit them either. I mean, the defense took a step back when Saleh got fired, but maybe they can get their acts together. They got the bones of a good defense.
He's a bum.
Sauce Gardner can't tackle right now, but maybe he'll find it.
He
Garrett Wilson,
he can
maybe
tackle when he's trying to cover a guy, and it's called
Float the
defensive
flag.
pass interference.
Garrett Wilson, Catch of the Year nominee the last time we saw them out. I cannot quit the New York Jets, Perloff. What about you?
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
I want a permanent flex out for the Jets. Don't care. I quit them 3 years ago, and I sometimes jump back on the bandwagon. I'm not going to do it yet. Okay, San Francisco 49ers. Listen, they're 4-4. They've been the picture of mediocrity, but I hold on to this fantasy that everyone's going to come back and they're going to be the Niners from last year. Is that a fantasy?
No, Christian McCaffrey's coming back this week. If
But
he's
I know, but
pain-free.
Even if McCaffrey goes back, like, doesn't it feel like they're never going to be like their peak was last year? I'm starting to feel that way. Like, Ayuk's not coming back. Trent Williams is not getting any younger. Kittle is not going to stay healthy. Debo is a shadow of himself. But I still think like they find some answer here, and like somebody like an Isaac Guerrero comes out and is unstoppable. So I feel like I still view the Niners as this elite team when we haven't seen the evidence on the field.
They're the only team with a positive point differential in the NFC West, but they're in third place.
Pain.
Are they still the favorite in the NFC? Or the Lions passed them eventually, but they're close. I was looking at the odds recently. Like Vegas, I used to mention Vegas can't quit the Jets. They definitely can't quit the Chargers. And they love your Bills, too.
I don't like playing this game.
All right, what's next?
All right, so last one here, and this is a little bit of a look ahead to the second half of the season. The one thing you won't see coming.
Yeah, trying to look into the crystal ball, the one thing that would really just shock the absolute heck out of me, and I'll tell you what mine is, Bryce Young finishing the year strong. They're going to be in Munich, Germany this weekend, taking on Manny's New York Giants. Then they've got the Chiefs, so that's not an easy landing spot. But if Bryce Young plays well and it somehow becomes a question about whether he's salvageable in Carolina, that would be the one thing I would have never seen coming, Perloff. That would be the biggest stunner of the season.
That would be very surprising. Certainly looked good against New Orleans, but New Orleans was... Terrible, so it's hard to tell. He'll probably... I don't know what to expect of this Giants game.
Europe games, to me, throw them away.
I know, I won't watch it.
I never bet on them. I don't... They're weird to me.
If you don't bet on this game or have fantasy implications or are not a Giants fan or a Panthers fan, and you watch this game, you might have a problem.
There's a helpline we have for you. Toll free.
Okay. My thing that maybe some people see this coming, I feel like the Rams are about to go on a serious roll. They did last year. Maybe this isn't a hot take, but I love their young defensive players. I feel like their GM, Les Snead, deserves more credit because this Jared Verse, Braden Fisk combo, they looked amazing last week against Seattle. They're younger. I assume they get a little better. And eventually, if you have a full Kupp Nakua combo platter, with Kyron Williams. If you get all those guys together, like, oh my God, this team could be really good. Now, that being said, they have not been consistent week to week. You don't have no idea which Rams team you're going to see, but I feel like they have a lot of talent. It could make a lot of noise.
Well, they've won 3 in a row. So
well, there you go.
You got a little runway here for that.
Maybe it's not a hot take. They have some easy games coming up, I know. They have Miami, New England.
Saints.
They kind of seem ferocious because you would have thought they'd take a massive fall off after Aaron Donald left. Kind of feels like they're never going to replace Aaron Donald, but they've figured out a way to be something on defense, which is pretty good because you're losing maybe the greatest defensive player of our era gone, and now usually teams like that fall off. The Rams have not, but can they stay healthy? That's a big question.
So you have the Rams about to go on a run, but you can't quit the 49ers. So who do you think wins the division?
I think it's like last year. I think the Niners win the division, and the Rams are right behind them in the wild card.
There you go. 855-212-4227.
Well, also, the Cardinals, I like your Cardinals pick. Maybe they get the second wild or the third wild card because I think the way it's shaping up now, you could be 9-8 and maybe get that wild card in the NFC.
EJ, how'd we do?
You guys did pretty well. I feel like when I thought about surprises, the one that I actually was thinking a lot about was the Chargers being 5-3 despite Justin Herbert being so injured.
Yeah, but look at that schedule. Jeez Louise.
I know.
They're like Notre Dame football.
But if you legit told me when we had Dr. Rock on the show and we talked about how bad that foot is and now the ankle, like you would have told me he's going to be pretty much playing injured and those receivers and they'd be 5-3, I would be very surprised by that.
New coach
I have
bump.
been.
Honestly, it's crazy, though. EJ, look at their wins. It's insane how this is laid out for them, and it will continue to lay out for them.
The best thing that happened to them last year was them cratering because it gave them that weak last place schedule, and they're just feasting on that.
Can I read you the quarterbacks they've beaten?
Go ahead.
Aiden O'Connell, Bryce Young, Bo Nix, I don't know, was it Hayner or Spencer Rattler, and last week, Jameis Winston. I mean, that is a who's who of bad football. So I just find it very hard to figure out.
All of a sudden, the receivers look good, though.
No.
Everything looks just a little bit better.
Against who? Against what?
Well, again, I mean, they're playing a good, in theory, I guess, Cleveland defense. I don't know. That game was a laugher.
It just continues. They have so many bad games on their schedule that they're definitely going to make the playoffs. But I don't think we know exactly who they are. I think even Harbaugh is like, wow, we're really good.
855-212-4227.
Wait, can I quickly give you a one thing you won't see coming?
Yeah, go ahead.
Packers don't make the playoffs.
Do not.
No.
Because of Jordan Love's injury.
Yes. Yeah. I think this is just one of those. It's just we're waiting for the shoe to drop and the situation to really get out of hand.
He's a bum.
You kind of been down on them coming into the year too, right?
I didn't pick them to make the playoffs. I had them just barely missing, even with 10 wins. I think that may happen.
I feel
this year.
show bet.
They're on their bye week right now. And yeah, I mean, listen, how many injuries to a quarterback can you have?
Well,
Jordan Love has a knee. Now he's got a groin issue.
Just going to throw out there, what are you willing to do if they do make the playoffs? Is there something involving cheese we can make EJ do?
Wait, for Packers bet?
Yeah. Melted cheese.
I think we still owe EJ King for a day.
Yes, because of the home runs.
Wait, we never settled that. What was the total?
I know I won, but we should.
No, we need to see the math.
Tally it up. That's fine. I'm not afraid of recount.
It shouldn't be that hard.
No.
Who'd you get? Stan, right?
I had Stan, I had Ohtani, and I had Tatis.
Yeah, EJ definitely won. We did a draft
Well,
of who was going to hit the
math.
most home runs in the postseason.
I need to see the math.
And 3 of EJ's picks went on historic runs, like for what they did.
How many did Ohtani hit? He didn't hit that.
I think he hit 3.
All right.
Yeah, and then he got hurt. I mean, Stanton was, basically climbing the ranks of Yankee history of like all-time postseason home runs.
God bless.
And Tatis was on fire.
He had like 5 in 4 games, so it's like, yeah, this I don't know. Tally them up. I'm fine.
Do you want to be king for a day tomorrow?
Yeah, let's do it tomorrow.
Should we do it tomorrow?
Love it.
Because we gotta pay that bet off.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I'm ready for that.
I mean, you deserved it. You won it.
I'm still upset about the shade Perloff gave with me picking Tatis and him suggesting that it was like dumb luck. I take offense.
Did I
to
say that?
You were kind of like him and Juan. You just
Was he your third pick?
It was my last pick. Yeah.
Yeah. That worked out well. Even you admitted, like, well, I'm glad he fell there.
Yeah, no, I was.
Yeah, I love all these Mets fans who didn't pick Alonso.
Yeah, that backfired.
Quote unquote experts.
That backfired. 855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do, including we've got college football on the docket this weekend. Seasons on the line. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
What they look like.
No.
Tube audience again.
Oh, Peter Belotti's pissed as hell. Giselle's got sick or she didn't fucking tell. Had Brady's baby. Tom don't know, but where the hell's Peter? No show after no show.
3 minutes remaining.
He's bitching about Giselle, her secret kid, but his own damn job he's nowhere hid. Bogush keeps wondering, where's Pete today? Left us hanging again, like every damn day. Dropping F-bombs, talking Tom's mess, while his empty chair just adds to the stress. Bogush is stuck, covering his slack, looking around like, will Pete come back? Swear like hell by Tom's mystery son, but showing up to work, he's gone, he's done. Forget Giselle and Brady's life. Peter's job's a real mystery, his endless strife. Yeah.
The Chiefs are at it again, down by some shit, clock's ticking down, fans losing their wit. Mahomes in the huddle, grinning like a badass, ready to pull off another win, kicking ass. Another fucking close game, Cowboys hanging on by the skin of their snout. But Mahomes and Kelsey dropping jaws on the grass. Always fucking coming through, busting ass. Sicko runs wild like he's pissed at the ground. Chris Jones wrecks shit, throwing QBs around. But then they fall behind, fans yelling, oh hell. Just another Chiefs game, crazy as shit, can't you tell? Won the game, Malik Willis led the way. Throwing downs and running fast, made defenders pay. But we all know the real story ain't the win or play. It's Bilotti Steak Back Day. You'll dodge another day. Where's the meat? We're all stopping here. Promised us summer ribeyes, but you always disappear. Stakes on the line, but you're off the grid. Bilotti's MIA, man, he always hit it. Some ribeyes, but you always disappear. Stakes on the line, but you're off the grid. The Lowry's MIA, man, he always hit. Showing up to work, no, that's not his style. He's out on a vacation, gonna take a while. He's better stakes, but we'll never get our share. Cause Bilotti's at home in his favorite chair. Where's the meat?
15 seconds.
We're all starving here. Promise us summer ribeyes, but you always disappear. Stakes on the line, but you're off the grid. Bilotti's MIA, and he always hit.
The Dependable Player of the Week is sponsored by Depend and the Prostate Cancer Foundation, reminding you that health is a long game and screening for prostate cancer easier than ever. Learn more at depend.com. So, this Dependable Player of the Week.
Yep.
EJ, I don't want you to pick somebody who had a big game last night. I want you to go back through the week so we bring football back in here.
I have a great nominee, though. I actually have two that I thought EJ might pick last night.
Okay.
Brandon Miller with the game winner for the Hornets.
Yeah.
Steph Curry coming through big-time hostile environment in Boston last night. He scored 27.
But that's better than, like, I don't know, Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow or somebody who just went bananas. Your guy Cam Ward. The player of the week, not player of Wednesday night.
I know, but we're closer to the next week now. We got football again tonight. We're not going back to do old stuff.
I want to see, like, who had the most dependable moment of the week. And you're saying Brandon Miller is more dependable than, say, I don't know, Kyler Murray. Give me a player here. I want football in here. But I'll bet you're right. I bet you EJ did go with last night's NBA action.
Am I close?
No.
Oh.
Not at all.
College football?
Yes.
Cam Ward? Isaac Restrepo?
I don't want to. Xavier, not
Xavier
Isaac.
Restrepo?
No, I don't want to be at home. I already picked Cam Kitchen. So I wanted to pick a player that I think really changed the course of his team's season, potentially with their win. So for me.
Jake Retzlaff?
No. So today's dependable player of the week is Taj Brooks, running back Texas Tech, who scored the game-winning touchdown against Iowa State to give Texas Tech a win over Iowa State, knocking them off from being undefeated. Texas Tech now squarely back into the Big 12 race for maybe getting into the college football playoff because that's an automatic qualifier. Texas Tech really changed their season. Taj Brooks, 122 yards in the game-winning touchdown in that one.
Is this just a setup so Colorado has a better win over Texas Tech this week? Because I think this is not what I think most people would go with. Because Texas Tech, who's talking about Texas Tech? Like,
no,
all
but this
of a
is great. Actually, people are talking about Texas Tech.
Because it's a fodder for Colorado.
Well, I think it's also the Big 12 is setting up to be bananas like it usually is. So
do you believe that?
I love that, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Texas Tech had lost 2 in a row, 2 really bad losses, so you kind of thought maybe the season was over. And they turn around and they had the biggest win of the season. Now they're squarely right in the mix.
Hey, by the way, speaking of the Big 12, and did you see that Mike Gundy apologized yesterday? You had given us his...
Apologize for what?
Wait, Bogish gave us all the quotes that he gave after the game about, people who criticize us can't pay their bills and said all this crazy stuff, and then he had to apologize on Twitter.
No.
Did you give us the apology yesterday?
I did.
I'm sorry.
I didn't want to say that, but I knew Bogish would.
I'm sorry.
I actually wasn't.
Wait a minute. Sorry. Now I have to apologize to you on Twitter.
Wait,
Mike Gundy just apologized to everyone on Twitter. It's just
I didn't
down the
intend
line.
to insult you by saying you were weak-minded and poor, but my bad.
No, and it was one of those to whom I offended.
Yes.
It's like, well, if you got offended.
As I said yesterday.
Who's a little thin-skinned?
But I'm going to defend Maggie here. Like, Mike Gundy.
You don't listen either, I know.
Well, no, it's not that. It's Mike Gundy apologized for something. It's like, take your pick. I'm like, it's like, Maggie's right. Like, there must have been 3 things since that story.
Now I'm remembering how long this conversation went after we did the story because EJ said he might get fired soon, and you were appalled by that suggestion.
I wasn't appalled. I just said, like, it doesn't feel like, what is Oklahoma State without Mike Gundy? I mean, like, that is an institution.
Maybe winning. You're not 0-6 in the conference.
Yeah, but I pointed out they were 12-2 like 2 years ago.
Okay, so I was thinking a little bit more about this because I know we did it yesterday. I'm sorry I didn't get the news peg that it was the apology. But again, a Mike Gundy apology, days of the week. I thought maybe he was trying to get fired. Is that a possibility at all? Because those quotes, even for Mike Gundy, who weirdly almost advocated for drunk driving earlier this year.
Yeah, if you know, it happens.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like,
Everyone does it. I just did it.
Yeah,
That's how I got here.
I do this all the time. I was like, what? You're the head football coach of all young people. And one of them got a DUI, and now his season has been totally off the rails. And Ollie Gordon, where'd he go? Anyway, do you think he was trying to get fired? I don't know if we brought that up yesterday.
I don't know about trying to get fired, but in getting fired, I was trying to remember, had he ever gone after the fans before? Because usually it's media
definitely.
Or overly protecting players like the DUI thing. That felt like a change. The thing that could get him in trouble is yelling at the people who literally give the money to the program to fund him.
Exactly. This is why it was actually a little bit different than all the other Mike Gundy gaffes that we're become accustomed to.
But I think it's in the same genre because Mike Gundy gets angry, and like I think it's just a matter of time before he is not one who likes getting criticized.
Yeah, but he basically called the fan base like poor mouth breathers. I mean, that is not cool.
Why college coaches keep going to that, by the way?
And then said, I didn't mean to offend you. There's nothing nice about those sentiments. There's nothing like benign about them.
Yeah, no, I meant it's cool that you can't pay your bills. Like what?
20 years.
You out of touch loser.
20 years at Oklahoma State is a long time.
Wow.
I mean, for someone making $7 million a year to be like, you guys can't even pay your bills is something else. I think he's trying to get fired. I don't know which big coaching jobs are going to be open at the end of the year that he could have gone after. Like Florida is going to probably be open again, but he probably could have gone after that job two coaches ago.
He's been there. How long has he been there now?
20 years. That's what I just said.
Yeah, 20 years, right? Like, it feels weird, like to me, like he's just going to switch to Florida or something. You guys could be right, but
I think maybe he looks at the Big 12 and this new college football playoff, and it's like people here are expecting me to make this 12 college football playoff, but I don't have the resources or whatever he's going to say.
I mean, he should want to stay there forever, in theory, right?
Yeah.
If the Big 12 is down, it's not as hard as the Big 10 in the SEC by far. Maybe it's harder in the ACC. That's maybe debatable. But, like, in terms of the colleges that are in that conference, they have the most resources. They have the access to the best players. Like, you should want to be a lifetime guy there.
Daly's in the chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network said Mike Gundy should apologize for his hair, air quotes.
Yeah.
Mullet.
That's been going on for 10 years. Like, that's just like Gundy's the thing there. That's he's like Kirk Ferentz in Iowa. I just can't picture it. You guys could be right, but like Mike Gundy coaching Florida would be the most bizarre thing you've ever seen in your entire life,
Kirk
or anywhere.
Never said, "Hey, Iowans, like you guys can't pay your bills."
Totally irrelevant. I mean, if they won and he said that, then it wouldn't make the slightest difference. But are they 0-6 in conference play? So of course he's vulnerable. But if they turn around and get a great quarterback in the transfer portal and win again, he can say whatever he wants.
And on the flip side of that, if you're one of these teams looking for a head coach of Florida, maybe even a Florida State, like, do you want Mike Gundy?
Yeah. Not now. Probably. I mean, he's having the worst year of his career.
Yeah. So he's trying to get himself fired, which he's a wacko. So he very well could, and he's maybe doing a good job of it. I just don't know, like, who's extending their hand, being like, oh, yes, come here. Take my $8 million a year, please.
I mean, college football in the NIL era, maybe turn it around fast, get the right guy in next year.
Yeah, so the people who you're depending on to give you money Now you're going to insult them. Anyway, Bogish, sorry about that. / what else do you got?
Headlines. They're all sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at progressive.com. The night began with 2 unbeaten teams in the NBA. Now we're down to 1. Here's the survivor.
Mitchell comes left of the lane. Put it up. I got it. A foul again. On 2 straight possessions, Donovan Mitchell takes serious body contact, banks it in, and a chance for another and 1.
Tim Alcorn on Cavs Radio. Donovan Mitchell scoring 29 in a 131-122 win in New Orleans. Cleveland is 9-0 for the first time in its 55-year NBA history. It is the Thunder, meanwhile, who are no longer undefeated.
5 seconds to go. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander on the run. Blocked! The shot was blocked by Peyton Watson, and the Nuggets have won it. Wow.
Peyton Watson blocking SGA's potential tying hoop for a 124-122 Nuggets win. Nikola Jokic, 23 points, 20 rebounds, and 16 assists. The Suns are 7-1 after topping the Heat 115-112, and the Warriors are 7-1 after a 118-112 W in Boston. Steve Kerr booed loudly pregame for not playing Jason Tatum more during the Olympics. Paul George went back to L.A., got booed as well, and the Sixers lost to the Clippers 110-98. Philly is 1-6 after a 4th straight loss, but Joel Embiid now expected to make his season debut on Tuesday.
It's been good.
Wait, is this part of the suspension? Because you can't tell, or is this just Joel Embiid not playing, or have we gotten into the 3-game suspension portion of this?
I haven't done the math on how many games they have left between now and Tuesday, but the suspension will be over by then.
So they counted these as games he could have played.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Because he could be paid for these, even though he's on the court.
Right, so these are just DNPs.
No, he's
this is in the suspension.
We're
right
in
now.
the suspension now. Someone has to tell me when we're in the suspension and when we're just not playing.
We were always in the suspension. I don't know that he could have played last night otherwise, but he was technically suspended last night.
No, Bogish, I think the ruling was once he's able to play, then the suspension begins.
Who decides he can play, though?
I think that's how the story was worded. I don't know.
I'm reading it right here. So Sham said the 3-game suspension will span Wednesday versus Clippers, Friday versus Lakers, Sunday versus Hornets.
And then that sets up his first game of the season against the Knicks in the NBA Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
NBA Cup is back next week.
Yeah.
The Emirates NBA Cup.
I'm going to
It's Emirates.
I'm going to the Knicks-Nets NBA Cup game.
Wow.
When those two teams get together for the NBA Cup, you know what they say.
Throw out the records, baby.
Yeah.
You know, I saw...
Might want to bring a book or something. Magazine.
I saw a couple of the new courts that were so terrible last year. The first few I was scrolling through didn't look that bad. I thought they got the notes from last year, and then all of a sudden they went back. Some of them are just still atrocious.
Some of them are really bad. I was impressed by how many of them aren't unwatchable.
Agreed.
Like I thought the Knicks one last year was like really, really tough.
Yeah.
And it's not as bad.
Some of them, it's like either the color is so saturated coming through my TV or something where it's just unpleasant to watch.
I don't know. I feel like we sound like kind of old fogies. Like it seems like it's to appeal to kids, right? Like a video game. Isn't that the idea?
No, it is. Yeah. I mean, this is the whole thing about, making it look very online friendly.
Yeah.
My college has done this where they created this whole scene on the court where it's like the skyline of Washington, D.C. on the GW court, and I find it extremely distracting.
Oh, you don't like those?
I do not. I don't like the one in Oregon either, where it looks like leaves are on the ground.
I love weird courts. I love Oregon. I love when they do red courts, blue courts. I'm totally down with this. I actually like the in-season courts. I mean, what's the difference? A normal court's like
the difference is the migraine I got from watching some of those games last year.
I feel like it's burning a hole in my retinas.
Yeah.
Anywho.
John Calipari, 1-for-1 as Arkansas's coach. The 16th ranked Razorbacks, a 76-60 home win over Lipscomb. Arkansas, they've got a freshman named Boogie Fland. He scored 17 points last night. Can anyone tell me why he's nicknamed Fland?
Nickname?
Because he loves flan.
There it is.
Don't he's a Simpsons fan.
Third ranked UConn, a 92-56 rout of Sacred Heart to start its season. And number 25, Rutgers took care of Wagner, 75-52. Projected lottery pick Dylan Harper scoring 20 in his college debut.
Oh, is that a son?
Yes.
Yep.
Ron Harper's son.
The second one to go to Rutgers.
Yes. Micah Parsons was back at Cowboys practice yesterday, but we don't know yet if he'll return from his high ankle sprain this weekend. Dodgers GM Brandon Gomes said yesterday Mookie Betts returns to the infield next season. That's either second base or shortstop. And the Capitals beat the Predators 3-2 with Alex Ovechkin scoring career goal number 861, now needing 34 to pass Wayne Gretzky. Guys, back to you.
Wait, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
So Perloff wanted to know how many home runs I've comprised.
What'd you get?
I had 14 home runs.
Well, who was in second?
I don't know. I did mine.
Everyone has to do their own.
I think we
show
tasked you with the
your work.
responsibility of keeping everyone score at some point, but maybe not.
That definitely didn't happen.
I don't even remember who was on my team.
I have everyone's written down.
Thank
I
goodness.
can
Maggie
barely
has
remember mine. I think I had Kiki Hernandez, right?
So this was from when the playoffs started. Did you know Kiki Hernandez was on the
I had Stanton, Hernandez, and
I had Pete Alonso, Kiki Hernandez, and
I'll find it.
Freddie Freeman.
I know I had
Freeman. Yeah, I had Freeman. That was my first pick.
I know I had Aaron Judge. After that, it gets kind of blurry.
All right, I got to find this now. This was something that started before the baseball postseason, and we all picked players to see how many home runs they would hit. It's in a different notebook. It's been so long. I've already made it through one notebook, and I'm on to the second one.
Okay, I know my team. I had Bryce Harper.
You did.
I remember
Juan Soto, and a third guy.
Did you take Lindor?
Lindor. So Lindor hit what, 2? You guys are Mets fans. 3, maybe?
Definitely not 3.
Hit the Grand Slam. Anyway, I think I had 5.
Giancarlo Stanton had 7. There's a chance that I beat you guys with just one guy, some of you guys.
Good chance.
But Nico is last.
Yeah,
Right?
he had guys who played 2 games and were out.
The math doesn't need to be mathed. We know Nico lost.
But this
Attaboy,
means
GQ.
EJ is going to be king for a day tomorrow.
I remember, Maggie, you had Jose Ramirez, which I thought was an interesting pick, and he definitely hit 1 or 2.
He hit 1.
Okay, 1 or 2.
No, I was terrible at this game.
Well, there was a lot of luck involved. I'm sorry, EJ. You are not claiming like you had some brilliant. Like, were you looking at the analytics before you made your choices?
Giancarlo Stanton is a monster in the postseason and a prolific home run hitter. I was very happy to take him number 1 or 2 whenever I took him 2.
Oh, so you passed on him first.
I took Shohei Ohtani. You called him Babe Ruth yesterday.
But I saw the shoulder injury coming.
Dude can't slide. Just wait.
We've got a lot to do, including we actually have another baseball bet. We're going to pay one off tomorrow where EJ will be king for a day on the show. We have another baseball bet already lined up.
We do?
Yes.
About what?
I'm going to tell you next.
It's like Groundhog Day.
We have
a baseball bet?
It's bizarro memento. The show never happens.
Don't move. What's our baseball bet? We're going to shock all of us, including Perloff, with the answer next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Legend, Juan of Juan, el 22. Con todos los números que ha puesto, acabó con todo. El Bronx, Yankee, que viva New York. El Bronx,
Welcome back.
Que viva New York. El Bronx, que viva New York. Los mejores.
All right, we're all going to find out together, including Perloff, the new baseball bet that we have going on.
I am very glad. This is not one that we've done on air yet.
No, we did not do it on the air.
I just missed behind the scenes. But go ahead and explain.
Okay, so today we are all going to put down in blood, not ink, not permanent marker, blood, where Juan Soto is going to sign, how much is he going to sign for, and what day is this going to get announced. So the trifecta, and whoever's gets the combination of closest things, I guess, gets to win the bet. We're going to figure out that part of it. But everyone has to go and make a prediction. Perloff, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Apparently, we just surprised you with this right now.
No. I knew. But when you say bet, I think of this more as like a prediction. Are we putting stakes on this?
I think we should.
Okay.
I need to see something bloody.
Well, that's different because I was considering using this segment to advocate for him to come to Philadelphia. I mean, it is like the shortest stadium on earth. He could hit 1 million home runs. But I think he goes to the New York Mets, who, and I did the math, I actually got my calculator out,
okay,
are going to give him $525 million over 12 years, which equals $43.8 million a year. Now, honestly, I think that's a bargain because if you could get like this long Bryce Harper, like 10 to 12 year contract, then it's not going to be that much per year. I do think he's going to either get to 500 or push 500. I think you're going to need to pay a premium if you're the Mets to get him away from the Yankees because the Yankees had a successful year and he has those strong hitters around him that makes life easy for him. So I think the Mets pay a premium, get up to $525 for 12, which averages $43 million. And I'll say January 29th.
Oh, you and I have the same date.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
I'll change mine.
Okay,
I believe that
that's
Juan
funny.
Soto, this is like Clue.
In
the conservatory
with the wrench.
with the rope. Okay, I think it will be January 28th. Then I'm going to go one day before you because I said the 29th also because it was a Wednesday in the middle of football. I'll go with the 28th. I think the number is going to be 515 over 12. So that's about 42 a year.
Thank God I went first.
And I believe he's going to sign with the New York Yankees. I think they keep him. New York Yankees, January 28th, 515 over 12 for Juan Soto. That's my prediction. EJ?
So I'm going to go with Juan Soto signing with the New York Mets. I'm going to say that Uncle Stevie will want this done by December 30th.
Oh, Happy New Year.
And he's going to sign for, let's do 15 years. Let's do $580 million.
Wow, 580 divided by 15, 38.6 a year.
That feels a little thin, dude.
Thin on the what? The year?
The dollars per year.
15 years. Who's
15
doing
years,
contracts that long?
I mean, that kind of hurts the player, too, because in 15 years,
Well,
that's not a lot of money.
They will be an opt-out in this deal.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But still, I don't think that's a big enough number, believe it or not.
Okay, Manny, who do you have?
All right. Well, I've got the New York Yankees.
Okay.
Got it at 13 years.
Okay.
Couple of options.
Sure.
And lots of deferred money. Not exactly like Shohei, maybe kind of like 15 years in the first year. And then kind of back-ended, push it off to the back end, 13 years at 700.
Wow, you think he gets the 700?
I think Boris's main, who I got something to say about Scott Boras, but I think Scott Boris's, what he wants out of this is to surpass Shohei's AAV.
Oh, so you think he's going to use Juan Soto as a tool just to one-up other agents?
Use his previous contracts to go ahead and one-up his previous contract.
Yeah, but I think everybody knows that Shohei's deferral makes his AAV a lot lower.
But still, okay,
Yeah.
those are the predictions right there. So we all pick New York teams. Now, one of the reasons why I picked the Yankees, everyone, Manny and I are the Yankees, EJ and Perloff are the Mets. And I don't know how much stock to put into this, but there was a Ken Rosenthal report that Juan Soto does prefer to stay on the East Coast because it's closer to the DR.
Yeah, I read the same thing, and that's why I was going to pick the Dodgers.
I was going to pick the Dodgers, too, and I'm like,
but,
whoa.
Feinstein said that he talked to, at MLB, said he talked to almost every GM, and everyone thinks he's taking one of the New York teams. What about,
this is like when we found out that obviously Shohei Ohtani didn't want to be on the East Coast, only wanted to be on the West Coast because it was a bit closer to Japan.
I just want my Phillies to get in there because the Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Juan Soto, I think they're all kind of tight. Like that Nationals team, everybody liked each other. So I think you make a play, even at $500 million. I have no idea where the money comes from. Don't quite understand this whole thing. I know where Steve Cohen's money comes from. He's absurdly rich. Yeah. But do you think there's an outside, like one of the usual suspects, like somehow the Padres, Rangers, Phillies, anybody gets involved in this?
Okay, so I have got one sleeper team. If you guys want to, do you want to do the sleeper team?
Sure.
My sleeper team is the Boston Red Sox.
I
know, man.
Wow, that feels like a big sleeper because they've so many guys that they won't pay. Why would they pay this guy?
I think at some point they've got to start being the Red Sox again, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why they
that
didn't pay
point
Mookie.
should have been 3 years ago.
I don't know why they didn't pay Mookie Betts. This is
Yeah.
the dumbest thing ever. They also had the GM from the Rays, who they don't have anymore. So they fired those guys, and I just wonder. There's also a well-documented, positive relationship about Dominican players in Boston. And obviously, most notably, David Ortiz. But you did see, even in some, I know this now because I've been, eyeballs deep in election coverage, there are counties in Massachusetts that are really heavily Dominican. It's like kind of this weird thing that people don't really I don't maybe don't understand outside of Boston Boston has such a terrible reputation in terms of black players, but for Dominicans, it's seen as a very friendly place.
I mean, it's some of the greatest players they've ever had.
Yeah, Manny, David Ortiz.
Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro.
Yeah, whatever.
Manny's so salty.
I'll give you Mr. Team. I'm going with San Francisco. I know it's West Coast. I know it's a little weird, but they are so desperate to finally get something. And now you have Buster Posey in there, and he's going to want to maybe, kind of plant his flag as a new president.
I think
that's the one I'm going with.
I think he's out of any West Coast teams. I think kind of like Shohei Ohtani, he doesn't want to go to the East Coast because it's so far away from Japan. I think it's the same thing with Juan Soto. I don't think he wants to go to the West Coast because it's so far from the DR.
Yeah, right. That's what we were saying. Like he wants to be able to be close to his family, which you get. But so you got to think of other teams on the East Coast. I don't think it's Miami. I don't think it's Tampa. Maybe Baltimore? Are they going to come up with the money?
You say Toronto? Toronto's a team.
Yeah,
that's the other mystery team, I think.
But I think Toronto's kind of it's tough for guys because listen, when you're making $700 million, do you care about taxes? But it's definitely a real thing. And Toronto we love it. The city is awesome. But do guys want to go there because of all the hassles with going in and out of the country? It just adds a layer.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I do think playing in Toronto in the summer is a lot easier than an NBA player, for example.
Oh, definitely. And George Springer is there. I mean, it's not it's not like it never happens.
Right, but I mean, how many big when was the last time the Toronto Blue Jays got that big free agent signing?
Well, Springer. He was a big deal when he was on the market.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go back to like Roger Clemens.
Well, that was a little bit.
But Clemens was, I think, at a value at that point, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was coming.
I do think I remember, and I can't even remember where the Dodgers were like, the Dodgers aren't in on this. Then the Dodgers decided last minute, hey, you know what? We are in on this. And they seem to have a way to pitch guys that is different than everybody. I mean, how many times they lost a couple guys to the Padres, which was freaky. But if they really want him, are you sure the Dodgers can't make a pitch?
They'll definitely make a pitch.
I mean, like, if they, but
here's the thing: the Yankees made a pitch to Shohei Ohtani, and he just didn't. It wasn't in the cards. Like they could never get him to agree to it.
But the Dodgers feel like, first of all, unlimited pockets, and also too, they just feel like they're more effective. Like the Yankees, I think the Dodgers are like the team now. So I don't know if the Dodgers really put their heart into it. I think that maybe they could get back in if they wanted to.
I think the Dodgers have their eyes on that Japanese pitcher that's coming in, the 26-year-old. I forgot what his name is.
Yeah.
What about Texas? I mean, Texas always finds a way.
They're like you don't think about the Rangers. They're like, hey, guess who's paying up for this new for Scherzer or whatever?
Guess who's paying for A-Rod?
Just still.
Well, that was the big one.
Yeah.
No, they've had a couple of huge signings, haven't they? I just worry about. If I'm New York, everyone thinks he's staying in New York. Just that the Dodgers have done this before where all of a sudden they're out, then they get back in. But
listen, if the West Coast is an option, though, you make a good point about San Francisco dying to get one of these big players.
Yeah, but they always miss.
But when's the last time the Mariners went after somebody really big? It was like Robinson Cano.
I mean.
Yeah, and they tried to get Shohei, and they couldn't really make that thing happen either.
No, we're not. I mean, now you're just naming teams. If we're talking about the Mariners, you're just like,
Twins.
Well, how about the White Sox? Like, come on. This is going to be one of the biggest markets with the biggest payrolls.
Las Vegas
A's. You just got to wait 5 years.
I think the A's are
Sacramento A's for now.
Yeah, you got to play in Sacramento for at least 2 seasons.
And they're still going to be cheap in their new team, probably, anyway.
Of course they are. Now they're going to really be banking on just tourists coming to see the games. Like with the A's.
That's what the Raiders are doing right now. Right.
And the Raiders actually have a national fan base, but they probably feel quite neglected right now.
Maggie, EJ, you're both Mets fans. Will you be disappointed if Soto stays with the Yankees and doesn't say go to the Mets?
Yes, without a doubt.
I don't know.
You have the richest owner in baseball and maybe professional sports. Like, this is the time.
At a certain point, Steve Cohen has to show that his bank account is actually an advantage because the best season the Mets have had was a year where they did not spend money.
Yeah, but traditionally, you can't buy a World Series title. Like, a lot more goes into it.
Oh, no, and it was a disaster when he spent a lot of money on Verlander and Scherzer. I get it.
I was wondering if there was any
Juan Soto is not
scar
that.
tissue from that. Okay.
No, you keep spending. This is the Yankees did it.
Yeah, not too easy to build a team when you're just spending, huh, Mets fans?
Well, I'm just
Not
saying,
as
like
easy as I heard.
the Yankees
They
after
all
the
fought.
core four just like kept on trying to buy, and it almost went the wrong direction. So I worry, like the Mets have to don't they have to build a team the right way? Like you can't. Steve Cohen has all the money in the world. I don't think that wins you rings,
But
except
that's
for the Dodgers.
Thing. They are. So you'd just be like inserting someone into the lineup. Yeah, and the Dodgers literally just did it.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like the Dodgers, they have a multi-pronged approach. Yes, they're signing Freddie Freeman and bringing in Shohei. They're also developing these bullpen arms that are beating the Yankees in the World Series. Like that's the combination the Mets are looking for.
Right. Like, did we just criticize the Yankees for being so top heavy and buying these sluggers and not having good fundamental players that they developed? I worry that could happen to the Mets if they try and buy a team.
Those are my boys.
But
I'd love to find out. Let's put this theory to the test.
F around and find out.
Yeah. 855-212-4227. So let's put this out on social. We have just predicted the team, the dollar amount, and the day that Juan Soto will be signing most likely one of the biggest contracts in free agent history. So there you go. 855-212-4227 if you want to weigh in on where Juan Soto will sign.
Yeah. EJ, you are officially keeping tally of this because you really didn't do a great job with the home run tally. You won the thing.
No, I won.
But which you should because you had it won like by the divisional round.
Coming up, one team very non-committal on their quarterback of the future. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, for the first time ever, you've got a team who's paying a quarterback an ungodly amount of money. And for the first time, you're seeing a crack in whether or not that quarterback has a future with said team. And of course, I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So glad to have you. Pearl, it was Andrew Berry, the general manager of the Browns, yesterday. The team's on a bye. Obviously, Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles, so he's out for the rest of the year. And Andrew Berry was asked, basically, what's the plan for Deshaun?
Is there a world in which Deshaun Watson can come back here and play more football for you guys again?
Yeah, I think that's always possible, Mary Kay.
Always possible? I thought that would be a no-brainer, no-doubter. Perloff, even if you don't mean it, what you say to the media when he's still under contract for minimum 3 more years of guaranteed money. Why answer it that way? Why answer, yeah, that's possible, when most people believe, oh, he'll rehab his Achilles, just like Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers did, and then he'll be back.
Have you seen the Cleveland Browns? Like, why on earth would he say that? I mean, even that was kind of radical. Everybody in Cleveland expects him to move on. Everybody in America expects him to move on. Even that was like a little overly. That was just I don't want to deal with this now. I'm going to put it off. There's no way he is back in the week 1 starter next year, and cut that when he is the week 1 starter. But yeah, they've clearly, like, all their language, like, they've given up on him, as they should, because he can't stay healthy.
Okay, but you can say that. What does that look like? Because again, I tell you, over $100 million in guaranteed money still has to come his way. So is it possible he plays for you? I thought it's more than likely. I mean, his career's not over. It's an Achilles injury. That's not career ending anymore.
But he's had such an injury history leading up to that Achilles injury, and he's a mobile quarterback. So it's unlikely that you're going to see much of him in 2025, I would think, right? Like, is he going to be...
So who is he playing for, though, in the future? Like, who's his next team then if it's not the Browns?
He probably just sits around in Cleveland for 2 years, like he sat around in Houston. And then, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a real question. Does he ever play again?
See, the funny thing, though, about Houston with Deshaun Watson, if you remember... He voluntarily sat out there, right?
Right. Because he had an issue with the owner, yeah.
Totally. He had an issue with the owner. He sat out voluntarily. If you have a guy who's making this much money and he's telling you, I want to come back, I do want to play once his Achilles is healed up, then how do you keep him off the field? You're just going to have him sit there behind a rookie quarterback like Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, and that's all going to go swimmingly fine?
Well, maybe you bridge quarterback him, but it's like even that doesn't really change the narrative. Like the Browns are going to commit to a new quarterback this offseason, and whatever happens, they're stuck with Deshaun. Like, what difference does it make if he's there or not there? He has no power. I mean, done nothing there.
I get it, but he clearly had enough power to get Joe Flacco out of the building. Flacco was a backup quarterback who they couldn't bring back because I think Deshaun thought that he would, the fans would be clamoring for Flacco every time Deshaun throws an interception or has a turnover. Is he really going to be totally fine with a number 3 overall pick or number 4 overall pick sitting there, and he's supposed to be teaching this guy? I don't see the real life way that works out. Kumbaya. And everyone just accepts their roles, because I don't think that Deshaun would accept that.
I don't think that anybody's going to give him the opportunity to say. I don't think there's a person in the Browns organization who's going to care. Like they don't have a choice now. Like they definitely have to move on. And honestly, I don't think he'll be there week 1, in the sense that I don't think he'll be fully healthy, because he's not. Kirk Cousins looked like garbage when he got back. Now he looks good, and Aaron Rodgers has looked so gimpy. Like, I just don't think, because Winston's been so hurt, I think he's going to need a little more time. So I think he comes, he's not going to practice. Like, he won't be there he's not going to be a pain in the neck in spring football. He definitely won't be there. Maybe he's back for training camp, but I kind of doubt that. He's not going to play in the preseason. So I don't think he's going to be in a physical position to make a lot of noise here.
Well, here's the thing about, Kirk Cousins, did he not look good the first game? Maybe not. They're leading the division, though.
Yeah, now he looks good. He's into it.
And they never benched him.
Right, but he's not Deshaun Watson. Like, he doesn't run.
Yeah, but I think that there is a world where Deshaun Watson coming back off of this injury will say, I'll be more of a pocket passer. I mean, he's not a running quarterback like Lamar. It's not where it's like 50-50 or Josh Allen or something like that.
Yeah, but I think his special sauce is his legs. And also, but the other thing, too, is he's not going to have a preseason. Like, he's not going to, how can you cause all this trouble if you're like, you didn't show anything on the field? Like, because he's not going to be out there. He's not going to play. Kirk didn't play in the preseason. Rodgers didn't play in the preseason. So Deshaun Watson's going to be like, well, you haven't seen me since then when I was playing poorly. I just don't think I'll have a leg to stand on, no pun intended.
Well, I don't think a lot of guys play the preseason anyway, and at least he would say, well, it's not like I'm coming to a new team.
Yeah, I do think he will be aware of the fact that, like, he needs to earn his way back into a starting job or even playing. No, I don't think, like, he's just physically not in position to really be defiant here. But honestly, and you can even hear in Andrew Berry's answer, like, he doesn't seem overly worried about it. He's like, I'm just going to put this off. We have no choice. We have the cap hit. Whether he's here or not, I'm drafting a quarterback. That's what I maybe extrapolated a little more out of that 8-word answer. But basically, he said, like, listen, we all know the situation. We're screwed. We have to start over. It's going to be a painful 2 years from cap standpoint, but there's no other option.
We're talking about Deshaun Watson. I just think he's not afraid to get real messy here. And not, you think that if they bring in a rookie quarterback and say they're picking with the 5th overall pick in the draft or something that, and they bring in Shedeur Sanders, they bring in Cam Ward.
Yeah, I don't see Shedeur, but anyway.
Okay, sure. Whatever, whoever.
Yeah.
And the media goes to Deshaun. What did you think the night that they drafted him?
Right.
Kirk Cousins didn't answer this question well. Aaron Rodgers, when they drafted Jordan Love, didn't answer this question well. You think all of a sudden Deshaun is the one who's going to be like, you know what, I totally understand what the organization's doing. No quarterback does that, because they still want to get out and play. And so I think he's not going to say, oh, yeah, well, I'm just going to take a step back here and I'm going to teach this young guy how to take my job. No shot.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same situation. I think Deshaun is aware that he was struggling this year.
You don't think he's got answers for why that is? Like, he would say the offensive line wasn't good enough, or you switched up my offensive coordinator and switched up the whole staff. Or I think in his mind, he probably doesn't think he's the main reason.
I don't think that's the case. I think Deshaun Watson is aware he needs a career reset. Yeah. And also, too, this is such a devastating, it's so different than for him. Like, he's going to come back. He couldn't stay healthy already. He's really got to get his legs underneath him. I don't think you're going to see the confident, brash Deshaun Watson coming back. You could be right, but I don't think he's going to be like Aaron Rodgers, who was coming off an MVP. I don't think it's going to be the same as Aaron. Actually, Aaron Rodgers was coming off a down season when they drafted Jordan
then he
Love.
won the MVP.
I'd be very surprised if that's the tone you saw from Deshaun Watson, because I don't think he has a lot of confidence right now. I think that he knows he has to rebuild his career, both mentally and physically. And you said, where is he going to play quarterback again? I think he has a chance, but I think it's going to be so hard for him to do it coming off an Achilles, maybe 2 years from now. And realistically, I don't even think Aaron Rodgers is himself this year. I think you're going to see a much better version of Rodgers next year. So like a hobbled Deshaun making a lot of noise there, I don't see it happening. Maybe I'm the naive one.
855-212-4227. We put a poll up at Maggie and Pearl. The question is the failure of Deshaun Watson the lowest moment in Cleveland Browns history? Now, there's a lot to choose from here. And no one will tell you that more than Browns fans themselves. The move, the fumble, the drive, hashtag DP, if anyone is on the deep cuts there. And I'm not talking about Dan Patrick. What else we got? 0-16. Yeah.
Giancarlo Stanton hitting a home run every time he steps up to the dish.
Didn't think about that one. Not enough spots on the poll. 65% say yes. This is the lowest moment in Browns history. 3 first-round picks, $230 million guaranteed, and it's been a disaster on the field and off the field.
Yeah, I'm curious how many of those people have been Browns fans for 40 years.
Well,
I mean, the move is probably the worst thing that happened, right? You can't argue with that. But you're saying this is worse than, at least they made the playoffs last year. They went 0-16 and 1-15. How do you do worse than that?
They made the playoffs, but not with Deshaun.
Yeah, but
it was addition by subtraction that he left and Flacco was there eventually.
Yeah, honestly, like, again, at least the Browns were not unique in this case. There are 4 other teams who would have done anything to get Deshaun Watson in the building.
Yeah, but someone went further, right? They're the ones who went the furthest. They got him in there.
This sounds good now that Deshaun Watson, like, did you say that the day after the Browns signed him?
No, but I also, it wasn't like no one loved it because of all the women who had accused him of all those things. So no one was like, yes, can't wait to see Deshaun be awesome.
But this has nothing to do with if he was throwing 40 touchdowns a year, nobody would be talking about that. The only reason we're saying this is he's terrible at football right now.
Right. And didn't you say before that there's 2 sides of why he's bad? You think that it's the injuries and also the mental part.
Yes, but I don't think I think Browns fans would be thrilled with him if he was good at football right now. I don't think the reason that this is a disaster, and you and I probably disagree with, is because of all that stuff that happened.
No, I think it combines to make this the lowest moment. I'm agreeing with you. If he was throwing for 40 touchdowns, you're right. No one would say anything.
Yeah, I think it's
the combo. It's the poo-poo platter here.
I think it's such recency bias because this is a franchise that has been the lowest of the low. I mean, honestly, like, I don't remember any of this, but when your franchise leaves your city in a place like Cleveland, I mean, where the Browns
middle of the night
were the part of the fabric of that city, and they go to Baltimore, is that? Yep. Yeah, I mean that is ridiculous.
Doesn't getting a team back take the sting away from that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely a little bit, but I mean, listen, they drafted Tim Couch, so it's been bad.
No, we know.
It's been real bad. The Hugh Jackson era was bad. It's not just that. There's been 100 bad things.
I know, and this was supposed to stop those. This was supposed to stop the revolving door of quarterback. This was supposed to be the answer, and now you have people in that city who are just pining for Baker Mayfield. And to me, all that combination is actually worse than going 0-16.
There's also a lot of kind of shame from a lot of other fans that these people embrace Deshaun Watson. Like there's no shame in you rooting for your team being bad. Like that's like we all experience that at some point. Yeah. Some franchises worse than others, Jets, Browns, obviously. But I think for a lot of fans, there was shame in embracing Deshaun Watson. That stuff they can't erase. You can say there's no shame in a guy fumbling in a big play that happens. There's no shame in John Elway beating you that happens. For some folks, there is shame in actually embracing Deshaun Watson, and that's something that they're gonna have to live with.
And in feeling like you want to give it a chance,
yeah,
right?
Mm.
And feel like, hey, give it a chance. Maybe the guy has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, true, but these are football fans. I mean, honestly, this is a golden era of Browns football compared to what it was 5 years ago. They're winning football games at a rate that they haven't won in a long, long time, which is bizarre.
Well, no, now 5 years ago was the year they made the playoffs. Well, close, 2020, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're on probably the best run they've had since they got there, right? They with Stefanski's 2-time coach of the year. Like, when did that ever happen?
855-212-4227. Well, you had Belichick. But
true.
That was.
But he didn't. He didn't win quite at this level though. What's his best season? Did he get 10-6?
His best season was 11-5. They lost the division round that year. 855-212-4227. Is this the lowest moment for the Cleveland Browns? The fact that Deshaun Watson It's likely he's played his last snap for the Browns, but I don't get how that happens like in real life. I get how it happens on paper. Got to move on for him. Got to take a painful cap hit. Got to draft another quarterback. It all makes sense, but when you actually put the personalities to it, I think it's going to get real messy. Again, 855-212-4227. You can weigh in on that. You can also watch the show, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork, and at Maggie Gray on X. Can I also give you results of another poll question I thought was funny? What's the more embarrassing sports moment? Getting dunked on in a basketball game or getting trucked in football? This is closer than I thought it would be.
I would say they're both so bad. I had trouble picking on this one.
Really? I think getting trucked is far worse.
I think the third option is getting crossed over and falling. That's probably the worst.
Really bad, too.
That's probably the
For
worst.
basketball heads, that's the question we ask in the locker room. Would you rather be dunked on or get your ankles broke?
See, the thing about getting trucked, and that's, by the way, that's leading 57% to 43%.
Yeah.
Getting trucked, it feels like there could be lingering issues from that. Like, you get your bell rung. You might not be able to, look at your phone for a week or watch TV for a month.
Well, the physical part has nothing to do with this. It's the humiliation.
The humiliation.
It's so much worse. Guys would take a concussion over the humiliation any day of the week in football. My favorite, I think getting crossover, we should add, can you edit the poll and add in getting crossover?
Can't edit the poll, but I could just make a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my favorite crossover, I cite this all the time. One time Steph Curry crossed over Marcin Gortat, and they turned it into this incredible meme where basically Marcin Gortat gets so crossed over, he skates off into outer space. Those are the funniest videos. To fall down.
I'm a little disappointed that your favorite Steph Curry crossover is not how he turned around Rudy Gobert like a top 5 times on one play.
Oh, yeah.
You hate Rudy Gobert so much. I thought that would be number one.
Wait, I thought your favorite crossover all time has got to be Iverson on Jordan.
Yeah, no, I felt bad for Jordan.
Oh, really?
Felt bad for Michael Jordan.
What? Against the guy on your team?
Old Jordan was tragic. Yeah, I could. When Jordan would miss a dunk with the Wizards, it hurt me.
He was in Chicago.
Oh, that was
It was the All-Star game, I thought, wasn't it?
No, I thought it was old Jordan with the Wizards.
Year.
Oh yeah,
they won 70 games that year.
I remember the All-Star. I feel like I'm remembering an All-Star one, but
I thought it was the
my
All-Star
memory
game.
must be bad.
No, Allen Iverson, he had an afro. This was pre-braids Allen Iverson.
Yeah, from the top of the key when he crossed over Michael Jordan.
I thought that was late Jordan in the All-Star game with the Wizards.
This is legit a top 5 Sixers moment, and Perloff not knowing when it happened is crazy to me.
I wasn't, I wasn't a huge AI guy.
But that moment though is
I was like, move the ball, dude. You're never going to win this way.
It's
I always
stepping
say
over
that.
Teron Lue, and then it's the Jordan crossover. That's
right. When Iverson was trying to prove himself as like a rookie, right? I saw that recently.
Yeah, Phil Jackson yells Michael on the switch, and Iverson pulls out and then hits him with the double crossover.
I mean, my favorite play of all time is a dunk, though.
Iverson?
Oh, just a dunk, any dunk, right?
No, one particular dunk.
Oh, Dr. J on Michael Cooper.
That was that's almost grandfathered. But Vince Carter and Frederick Weiss is the all-time funniest play in history.
Sixers.
But yes, it's not the Sixers, number one, and
but
two,
Vince Carter's my favorite player.
But that's one of the biggest mismatches ever.
Dude, he climbed over a 7-footer.
I know, but Frederick Weiss is just basically standing there.
You think he would rather get trucked, Frederick Weiss, or do you think he'd rather get jumped over?
Can we call him?
No, that's the best play I've ever seen. No,
it's an incredible play. No, I love that. I'm just saying,
everybody loves that.
You as a Sixer fan, as a Knicks fan, I will say, we don't actually have a lot of great plays. We have a guy limping out of a locker room and John Starks dunking over Jordan.
LJ.
No, but I mean spectacular.
Oh
my God, or what? We don't have a lot of those. You have Allen Iverson crossing over the greatest of all time. Dr. J going coast to coast, dunking on Michael Cooper in the NBA Finals. Dr. J dunking on Bill Walton 100 times in the NBA Finals. You got some of the coolest stuff in running the Vince Carter and Stephen Curry.
Yeah, but Vince Carter is my favorite player of all time.
It wasn't even in the NBA game.
It was Olympics. You hate Olympic basketball. You keep saying it's fake.
But we're talking about humiliating plays. He literally had his man parts resting on Frederick Weiss's head.
It's the greatest.
The part about the reason I like Vince Carter's play more than anything is that he had the audacity to do that. The mental thing is wait, I'm going to jump over the 7-footer. Just whatever triggered in his brain that he was going to try that.
You
It's
don't
a little
think
bit
that
like
Iverson showed audacity when he crossed over Michael Jordan as a rookie?
Iverson crossed over 35 players a game.
I'm
Like,
saying
no, that-
as a rookie, though,
No.
you're taking on MJ.
No, I don't think that had. No, that's
Okay.
not like Saquon Barkley trying to do a reverse jump.
Oh,
no,
God,
Iverson
you see
crossing
every
over.
day.
I know.
Saquon jumping over a person.
No. I mean, like the creativity, like of that. Like I need like something like, why would that guy try that? Like Iverson crossing over Jordan was not like that. That's a totally different. He probably crossed him over 4 other times that game, right? I mean, that was his move. No, but the greatest. But if you like do top 5 plays of all time, like I feel like Jordan when he reversed course against Ewing, that is, that dunk.
That play sucked.
Awesome dunk.
What's that?
Terrible play for Knicks fans, but awesome play.
No, that play sucked.
Yeah, I love Tom Chambers climbing up on that guy. There's like 5 dunks that are like everybody knows.
None of them are Dr. J.
And Dr. J on Cooper. Yeah, that one.
Oh, I'm about to say,
Yeah.
can we get some love for Dr. J?
Oh, I'm a huge guy. Yeah. But you're talking about like the most we were talking humiliating. Like those were great plays, but were they really like, were they shoving it in a guy's face like Derrick Henry stiff arming Josh Norman?
I don't know. DeAndre Jordan putting Brandon Knight into the floor at Staples Center a couple of years ago. That was pretty embarrassing.
Couple more like 13
I was
years
going to
ago.
say.
A long time ago.
I'm impossible. One
Those
thing
guys
about
in
me
the
playing
NBA.
basketball, you
That was
can't
5
cross
years
me
ago?
over. You can't cross me over because I'm too slow to get to the first move, so I'm still standing there by the time you get back. Guys have tried to cross me over, and I just steal it from them. I'm like, you thought I was going to move. Can't
Brilliant
do it.
move. This is like Tom Brady would go down before he could sack him. It's like, not on my watch.
It's not by choice. Like a guy crosses me over, he's probably pretty fast, and I'm just standing there trying to react to the first move.
855-212-4227. So yeah, you can weigh in on that. What's more humiliating, getting trucked or getting dunked on?
A kid in high school I knew got dunked on during a varsity game, and that carried with him for the next 3 years. So,
Yeah, kids are cruel.
I saw an NBA player credit Sean Bradley, the ultimate poster guy, for gets dunked on so many times famously. They said, well, at least he's trying to block the shot. Like that shows a lot of effort and heart.
Listen, I think if you're a center, it comes with the territory.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know you're going to get dunked on. Like if you're, anyone on a football field, you're not expecting really to get trucked. Linebacker, safety, stuff like that, but that's hard.
I agree with that.
I feel bad for the kids in high school when something like that happens and it stays with you forever.
Oh,
and now
Christoph.
on the parent side of it, I'm so worried that that's something like that's going to happen to my kid, and all of a sudden they're going to be forever known as like
Kid who got yammed
Cheese
on?
Whiz or something. It's like, oh, Cheese Whiz, look at him out there. You
What do
don't
you
worry
mean?
about this for your kids?
For football? No.
For sports, for anything.
No, I mean, I have girls who can't. They're not great at sports. So
that's not really the currency with
yeah,
women,
no, it means more to boys.
Yeah,
That's
it
a good
does.
point. Like I just don't think where my girls circle. Yeah, for boys that'd be bad, or just like striking out. And I found actually I went to watch Andrew Bogus's kid play, and it was so scary to watch him up. I'm like, please, Jake, do not screw this up. He was very good that game. So
Yeah, he didn't.
It's painful to watch kids like your kids. It's stressful as all get out.
I know. I'm worried, like any bad Halloween costume, something. I'm going to put my kid in a shirt. I feel bad even saying this now, and I hope that this person will have forgiven us after all these years. There was a kid in my elementary school who had the audacity to go to space camp. Okay?
Jim.
Oh.
We called him Sally Ride until graduation. Not cool. I'm not proud of it. It just became his name. Not cool.
Self-induced.
I'm owning up to it. I feel terrible about it. All he did was go to NASA camp. Like it's a crime.
Yeah, I think you lost the young people there.
Oh, sorry. 855.
They're like,
she was an astronaut.
They're like, space shuttle. What's a space shuttle?
Well, it's one of Elon's things. We're back in a minute.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Hello, American. I, Perloff, was a nerd. Ernest was the football star, always being heard. But forget about the past, let's get to Pete, the guy who skips work like it's a track meet. Born as Pendleton, thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. This weekend of kings, let's talk about Pete, who never shows up, his presence is beat. Lottie's got a gift, it's called disappearing. When it's time for work, he's nowhere near it. Out sick, on leave, or on a slip forward is Pendleton. Thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete, who never shows up. His presence is beat. Lonnie's got a gift, it's called disappearing. When it's time for work, he's nowhere near it. Out sick, on leave, or on a special trip, but showing up on time, he just lets it slip. Forward is Pendleton. Thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete, who never shows up. His presence is beat. Oh!
3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
There was a kid with big dreams in his eyes, wanted to reach for those starry skies. Saved up his change, packed his bag just right, signed up for space camp, aiming for flight. But Maggie Gray, with a smirk so wide, called him Sally Ride on the playground side. Hey there, astronaut, where's your rocket to Mars? Guess the spaceship's parked out back by the cars. He had his helmet, his NASA gear tight, but Maggie's laughter was out of sight. Who you fooling, kid, with all the space talk? You'll be back on Earth with the rest of us jocks. Yeah, I'm Maggie Gray, with a teasing and pride. Made him feel small just for touching the sky. Call him Sally Ride like it was a sin, but he kept looking up, a big grin within. Ooh, the Maggie Gray, with a smirk so wide, call him Sally Ride on the playground side. Hey there, astronaut, where's your rocket to Mars? Guess your spaceship's parked out back by the cars. He had his helmet, his NASA gear tight, but Maggie's laughter was out of sight.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. You know what that music means. Cowboy Quickie, what's the latest good news out of Dallas, Maggie?
Well, I'll tell you right after I explain that this portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com, not available in all states. Well, thank you for asking. The latest to come out of the Cowboys, obviously not good news on Dak Prescott. Looks like the hamstring, according to Jane Slater, part of it was torn off the bone.
Sounds bad.
Ugh. So IR feels like it's going to happen, and missing even more time than that. So, as Cooper Rush prepares to take over for Dak, let's not forget about Trey Lance. Here's the third-string quarterback and former top pick talking about how he is ready if the opportunity calls.
Just talk to the coaching staff about that. I'd love the opportunity to get on the field any way I can, if that's what the coaches think is best.
More from Lance saying going through the full offseason gives him confidence he can step in.
Yeah, last year was probably a whole different story, but, having gone through the whole offseason program and this season, up to this point, great coaches, great guys around me. So, I feel prepared, if that opportunity does happen at some point.
P.S. Cooper Rush, check the brakes on your car, man, because I think Lance really wants an opportunity to get in there and see what he can do. And to be honest, if I'm the Cowboys, how many games of Cooper Rush do you go through before you go to Lance just to showcase him for the rest of the league and try to flip him?
Okay, well, you got to know for sure that Dak is done, right? Because say somehow they upset the Eagles, 6.5-point underdogs, and Cooper wins this game, then maybe Dak finds some. Because Dak was talking about some secret sauce to get back earlier. Did you see his quotes? He's like, I'm looking for alternative way, or somebody said that he's looking for.
He's talking to Rodgers?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Off the bone sounds bad, but in your model there, you're assuming Dak is done, which I kind of agree with. If that's the case, once you're eliminated for the most part, then you go to Cooper. Once you lose your 8th game, you're out. Like Cooper Rush is not bad. He's a very solid NFL backup, very solid, because you want your backup to know the system, and Cooper Rush knows this offense better than probably Dak Prescott.
That's your Cowboy question?
You have such low expectations for Cooper Rush. I guess Atlanta's prevent, he was balling. He's going to throw those little 6-yard passes to Jake Ferguson. It's going to be really mediocre to watch and effective in a slow, plodding way.
Can't wait.
Wow, way to sell it.
Yeah, I mean, this is Cooper Rush. What did you expect?
This is
Lamar Jackson? Come on.
Terrible season that just continues to get worse for the Cowboys. Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines.
And they are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive is proud to support veterans and small businesses with their annual Keys to Progress vehicle giveaway program, helping our heroes drive their lives forward. Learn more at keystoprogress.com. Deeper. This... I don't know what that was. That sounded personal.
That was you. That would mean Allen Iverson.
This is what Al Michaels has been waiting for, an elite Thursday night matchup as the Ravens host the Bengals. They have already played one overtime thriller this fall. Cincy head coach Zach Taylor.
These divisional games, again, it's always stated when you play these games, we know them well, they know us well. It was a great game. The last time we played them, we came up short. And excited for the opportunity to get another crack at them in third place.
The Bengals are 3-1 since that game, now 4-5 overall. Wideout T. Higgins is doubtful with the quad injury. It's already cost him 2 games. Tackle Orlando Brown Jr. is a game-time call with a leg injury. The Ravens will not have tight end Isaiah Likely. Bryce Young makes his 3rd straight start when the Panthers meet the Giants in Germany on Sunday morning, and Doug Peterson couldn't say yesterday if Trevor Lawrence will face the Vikings, the QB reportedly dealing with a shoulder problem. We have already heard how much J.J. Redick dislikes the Lakers this morning. Now it is John Morant's turn.
I don't like them. They knocked me out the playoffs. And then last year we had a game and they came in here and popped it on our home floor when I was in street clothes. So I wasn't a night.
Ja said that after scoring 20 in a 131-114 home win. The game included him and LeBron each doing the too small celebration. Ja at one point ran into LeBron's back on purpose. He did leave this one early with a right hamstring issue. No post-game update on that.
I actually was surprised when I saw that headline. I thought everybody in the NBA had to pay homage to LeBron James. Like, how can you not like LeBron? I thought you had to like LeBron.
Well, he kind of said it in the quote. He's like, he's the big dog. Like, right, he's the top dog. I think he kind of acknowledged it, but says, like, I don't like him. But he did say.
Right. So did he temper it by, like, don't get me wrong, I love LeBron, but I don't like this team? Like,
he said it that way.
Yeah, I feel like the Lakers are an honorary team. Like, you don't take them seriously, but at least you show respect to LeBron.
I think John Morant and Anthony Edwards are both showing that the way that they talk, at least, is not like this, LeBron love fest.
And I want my
they
damn
might love
respect,
them,
too.
but they also want to take them down.
I wasn't aware. Like Anthony Edwards says, like things about but LeBron's not like their team isn't that good right now, so you can't take
LeBron
him
was
down.
talking crazy to Bronny in that first game. I mean, Anthony Edwards talking crazy to Bronny in that.
What was he saying?
Oh.
There was a trash talk moment. I wish I remember. I'm gonna try to look it up in 10 seconds.
Oh, this.
I did. Okay, I did not know that.
The Cavs are 9-0 for the first time ever after a 131-122 win in New Orleans. Zion was back after missing 2 with a quad issue, scoring 29 in the loss.
By the way, Anthony Edwards' quote to Bronny was reportedly, "You ain't got to shower after the game, my boy. You played 3 minutes. You good."
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
that's what he
funny.
said. You don't have to shower.
He is the character in what's it called in Hustle.
Hustle.
He's
No,
Kermit.
He's 20 times that. He is unbelievable.
Even Sandler couldn't write it over the top.
I don't even know how he has the energy to play basketball. He talks so much, but he's amazing.
He told Jared Vanderbilt in that same game, "You haven't played in 3 years. You were always in street clothes. Why you sitting on the bench in street clothes?"
Oh my goodness.
Andrew, you got to see this Anthony Edwards kid play. It's the most amazing thing I ever saw. Yeah. Sandler was on that. He's like, Anthony Edwards is going to be the biggest star in the NBA. He told me that on the set of Hustle. He said all the other NBA guys are in awe of him, for what it's worth, including Juancho Hernan Gomez is Maggie's favorite NBA player for reasons that have nothing to do with basketball.
Well, if they did have to do with basketball, I'd have horrible taste, excuse me. But my eyesight works.
I'm pretty sure he's not in the NBA anymore either.
I can watch games in Spain.
Yeah.
Olympics every 4 years.
Shorts are still short.
World Cup
Arms
too.
are still out.
I've got a couple of live illegal streams that I can tap into.
I said to Sam, man, I'm like, do I have to go shirtless? Like, apparently Hernan Gomez is in every scene. Like, where's the guy's shirt? Get wardrobe on him.
Yeah.
In fact, put on a jacket. Forget about shirtless, Perloff.
We're going to have a reporter number 2 is going to be wearing a spacesuit. It's a little, it's not conservative.
Bo Cruz, how's it feel getting into the combine?
I got to be honest, you guys, Perloff was so good at that movie, though, I don't even want to poke fun.
Poke fun all you want.
You were great in that movie.
I actually, I have an IMDb page.
You do.
Yeah.
Didn't even recognize him when I saw it.
You're kidding.
Also, it was before I met you.
You didn't. Oh. I get that a lot. Oh, I saw you in Hustle.
My barber says he knows you as the guy from Hustle.
I'm telling you, Perloff had 4 lines.
When I pulled up, I'm sitting in his chair because my barber is now, these are home appointments now. And he's like, "Oh, pull up the show you're on." And I pull up the show, and the first graphic is, of course, a graphic of you guys. And he looks at the picture and says, "Isn't that guy an actor?" And I'm like, "Are you serious?" He's like,
No.
"Yeah, I saw him in a movie." And I was like, "Well, he wasn't." I was like, "He wasn't Hustle." He's like, "Yeah, I saw him in that movie."
I mean, did he ever see my work? And that's my boy.
Is he familiar?
Then I
with
go
that?
down the IMDb page.
Yes.
We went into the more LeBron Bronny takes.
Because Hustle was different because I actually had to say words. That was very challenging. But I did a lot of acting in another Sandler movie that I think is being underappreciated here. That's my boy when I was holding the boom mic over Adam Sandler, who was having dirty talk with Susan Sarandon. Have you guys ever acted in a scene with Susan Sarandon, who we weren't allowed to look in the eye for 2 hours there on
You thought
set?
about what team you want to play for?
We bow down. No, it was great. You really had a presence. And the camera just is right on you.
Yeah, I wish Anthony Edwards was there that day. By the way, even in that movie, like he was like, his moves on the movie were pretty awesome.
Yep.
Have you guys
Not
watched
like Juancho's.
Have you guys watched the Netflix thing?
No.
The basketball star?
Yeah, that
I
follows
watched the
Anthony
first
Edwards
episode.
around.
I didn't get to the Edwards part yet.
Yeah, I know. I gave up after one episode, but Anthony Edwards, they said like, this is what's going to make this documentary. He's the best. He's the most entertaining guy we have.
Why'd you give up, Pearl?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Nobody
why
was
I get-
killed.
Yeah,
It's not a crime
Well, I'll
doc.
tell you,
There was no mystery
It's
to
like, wait,
solve.
Jimmy Butler's not a serial killer? Oh, this thing sucks.
well, like wide receiver was interesting because I got to learn about players. I don't need any more access to LeBron James. I seem to have access to every thought the man has. Like I don't need a document. Like whoa, inside the life of LeBron James. So that's what. Yeah, I mean,
It's
he's
like, hey, did you know he loves his wife?
yeah, I know.
Hey.
He's got
No,
a lot of
it's
content
good.
out
It's
there.
great. It doesn't feel as real as the other ones.
No, they didn't pick like a lesser player, right? That's what you got to do. That's the best part to see Marcus Mariota. Like you can't do
got
5
Sabonis in there.
superstars.
Yeah,
What?
Sabonis is all-star, not a superstar.
Sabon,
get to
yeah,
that
he's their afterthought. I haven't seen an episode with him yet. Anyway, how did we get on? Oh, because John
Ja.
Morant doesn't like.
Correct.
Now that would be interesting to watch John Morant 24/7.
I feel like it'd be dangerous for the camera crew.
Well, I don't know.
Straight.
That's a guy who.
NBA basketball.
To say Ja runs in some pretty tough circles.
But hasn't he changed all that? I assumed.
The Nike commercial suggests.
Sure.
Wait, I'm being dead serious. Hasn't John Morant like kind of rebooted his life a little bit?
Yeah, that's what they told us the last time, and then he was waving a gun on Instagram.
Ask us again in about 6 months.
When he's doing another apology with Jalen Rose.
I don't know. Dude did a
first
reverse 360 in air.
I still can't get
cool.
over that Nike commercial where he's talking about how much better a person he is. He's playing basketball in the backyard with kids. That
not punching him.
Believe it.
A step in the right direction.
Yeah. I know. I guess they're trying to say, see, he can
parents
play
signed a
basketball with
waiver.
kids and not have an incident where that gun gets pulled.
This is so funny. Like I'm the blind optimist. I believe the Nike commercials where John Morant says another person, and Maggie and the rest of you guys are all cynical.
We've got some evidence.
It was Ja go get a bucket.
The Cavaliers are 9-0 for the first time ever. I already mentioned that. The Thunder lose for the first time this season, 124-122 in Denver. The Warrior win streak is 5 after a 118-112 win in Boston. And the Hawks snuck past the Knicks, 121-116. Number 1 pick, Zachary Rizache, 33 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Just a reminder for Pearl, Creighton's 7-footer Ryan Kalkbrenner scored 49 points last night, hitting 20 of 22 shots. His 15th-ranked Blue Jays topping UT Rio Grande Valley 99-86 in their opener.
I don't need a reminder. I was there in 2013 when he played Hunter Dickinson in the Sweet 16. I mean,
and Mario Chalmers with that big shot.
No, he's 22. He's 22 in college basketball terms. That's like Tom Brady playing at 45. To be 22 and be a good basketball player?
Right, to be good and playing 22 in college basketball is old.
I think when you're 22, you're peaking in the NBA.
Oh, you're a little old. It's like, well, he's 22, He's no Jalen Green. He's kind of seen the best of that guy.
Less drama for third-ranked UConn last night, 92-56 winners over Sacred Heart, and Columbia, a 90-80 surprise win at unranked Villanova. Yesterday, we talked about Blues forward Dylan Holloway, who was stretchered off the bench during Tuesday night's game after getting hit in the neck by the puck. Holloway back with the team yesterday, apparently perfectly fine. Here is what happened in his own words.
As soon as the puck hit my neck, I knew something was a little off. I don't know, like as soon as I started skating, I felt a little lightheaded a bit, and then when I was going to the bench, it kind of felt like when you stand up too fast and you kind of get like that head rush. I felt like that, but it just kind of kept coming on, and then then I was out.
I am so sorry for laughing, but that is a funny thing. That's unintentionally funny to be like, I knew something was wrong when the puck hit me in the neck.
Well, yeah, but normally you get hit in the neck with a puck and be fine, right? Like that's not something that's.
But how often does this happen? Not like twice a game.
Yeah, I think.
Is their neck protected by the pads usually?
No.
So yeah, it probably happens multiple times. Those guys get mauled.
No, getting hit in the neck by the puck is not a regular occurrence. I think when you do, normally you're like down and out immediately. So like, the fact that he was like skating and feeling weird, I think is what he was saying. And apparently the puck hit a nerve, and that's what caused all of this.
Isn't that how you do a sleeper hold in pro wrestling?
Maybe.
You cut off the carotid artery. That's how the announcer said it. I don't know. EJ, you're a wrestling guy. How's a sleeper hold work?
Something like that.
The guy pretends to sleep.
Or in the movies,
Hey, James Bond, how'd you pull off that sleeper hold?
In a sleeper hold, like
it's written right here.
Like you don't strangle them to death. You
my head to the
cut
left,
off
like
that
I'm
artery
sleeping.
on the side of their head and they fall asleep. I used to do it on my brother all the time.
Is that right?
Well, he was
How's he
pretending to
doing?
sleep. All we did together was fake pro wrestling, and I put a sleeper hold on him. And
That's all
maybe
brothers are for.
What's that?
That's all brothers are for.
And sisters. I got put in many
sorry.
a camel clutch,
Oh, there you go.
and it sucked.
Oh, by your brother.
Yeah.
Two sisters doing camel clutch? Yeah, I don't know.
No, I was the
figure
younger
four.
sister.
Figure 4 and sharpshooter. Were the
Girl,
ones
you
that
got
were-
it.
I actually think I could survive a camel clutch. I never thought that was a great submission move. Like,
Are any of them not survivable?
what's the one that? Sorry, you just said that Sergeant Slaughter used to do.
the Cobra.
The Cobra, yeah, like that's not
yeah,
going to
Cobra
knock you
clutch.
out. That's not scary. The figure 4, I used to execute a poorly designed figure 4 with my brother all the time. We couldn't figure it out.
I had a friend who knew how to do the figure 4, and I was like, "You're going to break my leg. You need to get off."
I thought the craziest finishing move was the Jake the Snake Roberts when he put a snake on somebody. That leaves an impression on a kid.
Yeah.
What was the snake named? It was a woman's name, wasn't it?
Slither.
No.
How many kids have been accidentally injured by doing just a pile driver is not good to do to your brother. Like I got in some
RKO'd?
trouble for that. Yeah.
That was a little after my time, but
jumping off the top rope That ruined many a bedroom prop in our household.
That was many a kid ending up in a cast because of that.
Kids used to RKO each other in the high school hallways back in my day.
Halcyon times.
3 months ago, back in my day.
Last year.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a quick break. Bogusch, thank you so much. Bogusch, can you stick around for a second? We want to get your take on, we're putting it down on paper today, the day Juan Soto signs, the amount he signs for, and the team he signs with. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. All right, quickly, Bogus, got to get you in on this. We're doing the day, the amount, and the team that Juan Soto is going to sign with. We're writing it down. This is it. This is the last say you get before we go through a long off season.
All right, I'm going, this is like Clue for sports. I'm going January 20th.
Okay.
Mets, 10 years, 725.
Oh, my God. All right, EJ, you got that written down?
Got
it right up here? Right up
the
here.
noggin.
Perloff's got it.
10 years, 70, 700. That's a lot.
Oh, I know.
We all went
That's
like
dynamite analysis you can only get here on the Maggie and Perloff
folks, we
show.
all went like 12 to 15. 10 years, that is insane.
Okay.
All right,
Just guessing.
we got to get. Well done.
Well,
You understood the
I'm
assignment.
not saying your guess is insane. I'm saying that number is insane. Like the fact that that's somewhat realistic is like, whoa, we're getting big numbers in the mix.
Let's talk about tonight's game. You got the Bengals at the Ravens, Perloff. We've talked about whether this is like a quote-unquote must-win for the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's get you a little bit as far as the betting is concerned. The line right now, 6 points in favor of the Ravens. The over-under set at 53.
Yeah.
How are you leaning?
Ravens. Now, the Ravens do this thing where they get way up and let the other team back in, and Joe Burrow probably will take advantage of that. But, man, like, if you get close enough in a game with the Ravens and they get to unleash, we're talking about finishing moves, they have the ultimate NFL finishing move. Derrick Henry. Like, he's going to – the Bengals can't stop anybody, and they've done okay against terrible teams like the Raiders. This is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited for this game. I hope it is 48-41, but I definitely would take the Ravens to the points. I have no fear of that spread.
Interesting. So, obviously, the last time these two teams played, game that went to overtime, final score in that game, 41-38. So, I would have to lean the over in this game because I do think that it's going to be another shootout. I don't think the Ravens have a good defense. So, I would take the over, but I'm going to take the Bengals plus the points. Okay. We've talked about the desperation that the Bengals have to be feeling in this game. They're 4-5 on the year. I don't know if anyone was really expecting the Steelers to get out to this type of start, right? You had two quarterbacks. It was a whole thing in the offseason. Steelers are 6-2. Their schedule is about to get a lot tougher. Ravens are 6-3. The Bengals cannot afford to go to 4-6 here. Right?
No.
This feels so do or die on the season that I have to believe in the power of Joe Burrow to just will his team to get as close as possible. So I would take the points, and I would also sprinkle the money line here, which is plus 210.
Mand P.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally I totally agree with that, and I want the Bengals to win, so my Super Bowl pick is still alive. I think the Ravens might be the best team in the NFL. I can't believe how good this offense is because you got Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson feels like the game is slowed down so much, and it's not just that. I'm going to give Lamar credit for this. His receivers are so confident. Even Nelson Aguilar looks explosive. Zay Flowers is a joystick, and Rashad Bateman looks like a star now. And you're not even mentioning, I know Likely's not playing tonight. You have the best tight end combo in the league. Who do you stop? Like the Bengals can't stop anyone, but like if you're a good team going against the Ravens, say you're the Chiefs, like what's your strategy? What part of the game of the Ravens is a weakness?
Well, we saw them play the Chiefs already. It was a low-scoring game. It was the season opener, and it came down to a toenail.
That was different. Right, that was a season opener. I think the Ravens are very comfortable in Todd Monken's offense. Their defense stinks, which is even more entertaining. But I think the Ravens are – I think they're the team to watch this year. And I don't even care if they lose tonight. I really think they are gearing up for us. Whatever the wall they keep hitting in the postseason, with Derrick Henry there, I think they're going to get over that wall. If I could do my Super Bowl pick again, I would pick the Chiefs or the Ravens.
I thought you said the Lions. The Lions are the best team in the NFL.
No, the
Talked
AFC.
about them. Okay.
Yeah, AFC. Well, even the Lions without Hutchinson, if you had Hutchinson, yes, I would say the Lions are the best team. But no, they're back in that mix.
They just went to Green Bay and almost knocked Jordan Love out of the game. He probably should have been knocked out of the game.
Yeah. But the rain. And then Jordan Love still, Green Bay outgained him 400 to 200. So that Lions defense, I think the Ravens are really interesting this year. The fact that Lamar has 2 MVPs and is having his best season, that's incredibly interesting to me. Like, he's taking a next step, so voters are going to have a really hard decision because they don't want to give him a third MVP.
I'm sorry, Manny, you got my ear and said what now about the Panthers?
Chuba Hubbard has signed a 4-year extension with the Carolina Panthers.
They had to go all the way to Germany for that?
That's why they're there.
Do you get it in euros? All right, well.
Yeah,
Cool.
Chuba Hubbard once signed a 2-week extension on my fantasy football team.
Was it as lucrative? Maybe for you.
Yeah, that's probably a situation like the Panthers are like, man, we got to get to that floor of who we're paying.
Oh, yeah, there is a salary cap and there's a salary
I can't
floor.
think of who would they possibly be invested in. Derek Brown is hurt. He got paid, right? But generally, that's now they're building around Chuba. Thanks, Manny. That was really helpful.
The news flying in today. Thank you, DJ Stewart. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez. Thank you to Andrew Bogush and Andrew Kaplan, Weedo's Coffee Drinkers. You make this thing go. We appreciate it.
You're in a